All right, sup, ladies and gentlemen, Akalon here, and welcome back to each one of you. And of course, if you're watching this over on YouTube, please remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also, click the link in the description down below because it is always better when it's live. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, I think. Is it Wednesday? Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I'm sore as fuck. Unknown Mephi, how you doing? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. How you doing, Unknown? It seems like you are first. Bored here. CDJ, how you doing, brother? What are you bored for? Why would you be bored? It's a good day. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. We're almost there. Weekend is just around the corner. Just around the corner. Happy days involved for everyone. I'm just fucking hell. I feel so weak today. I was at the gym and I literally broke my chest. Today was rough. Today was like proper rough. Yeah, I feel good. Tomorrow is leg day again. Oh, I hate squats. I fucking loathe squat, and tomorrow is squat day. My fucking legs. My poor legs. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. What's everyone up to? COVID has ruined my taste buds. I can't eat meat or cheese as they all taste so foul now. It can last very long, CDJ. That's the sad bit. Like, I wish I had good news for you, but I don't. It can be, it can last quite a fucking while before you actually get those taste buds back and working. Mine lasted for about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks after I got better, my taste buds started to normalize. I've heard of people who basically it just doesn't normalize ever. So I've heard people really fucking struggle with it. So I'm assuming it really depends. I'm assuming it depends on a million things. Like, I think to some extent it also depends on how long it takes you to heal, Like, if you don't heal fast enough, it's obviously going to take longer. Because that's what it seems to me at the moment, at least. What's up for today? I have no idea. I haven't decided really yet what we're going to be doing today. I'm split in two. I'm really split in two. We can play some Final Fantasy if that's what you guys are interested in. We can definitely play some Final Fantasy. We could also play another game. If people are interested in another game, we can always buy another game and download that. Genuinely don't know. I don't know what I'm in the mood for. That's really the biggest problem for me right now, at least. Like, I would enjoy playing Final Fantasy. It's not as if playing Final Fantasy would be like the worst thing in the world. But at the same time, I'm not sure if that's like the game that I really want to play now, or if that's just sort of going to be like the fallback game at the minute. The disco option, how you doing, bro? We should really play Final Fantasy, though. We should finish it, even though it's been a while already. And I always wished I had a random game picker app. It wouldn't work, because even a random game picker app, like, it would pick a game for me. I would look at the game and I'd be like, no, I don't want to play that. And then it doesn't matter that it randomly picked a game for me. It didn't pick the right game. And that just means I won't be interested in it at all. I am very strange when it comes to games. The vast majority of games that I love playing aren't really games that I can play on stream, because I don't think you guys would enjoy me playing the games that I love playing. So I kind of have to stick to the games that would be fun to also stream, and that means games that don't require a lot of like what do you call it? It means we have to play games that doesn't require a lot of focus on the game, but rather allows for more conversation, and the game is just sort of the backdrop at which you play the game. You just sort of have something going on in the background while you're chatting to to you guys. So while we're chatting, we have something that's going on in the background, but who really gives a fuck about what's going on in the background? That to me, the way that I stream is better. I don't enjoy the FF stream. Why? Unknown. Are you into turn-based strategy? I am, yes. That's games that I really enjoy playing. Just don't enjoy it. A lot of people do love the Final Fantasy, but I think the people who like the Final Fantasy streams, they love to see the reactions from streamers as they're playing Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy is definitely not a great stream game. It's kind of like WoW, in that there's really not much enjoyment from the game itself. The enjoyment comes from the streamer that you enjoy watching, playing the game while they're hanging out with chat. It's one of the reasons why if you go to MMO sections, mainly if you go to MMO sections and sort of RPG sections on Twitch, you will almost always find thousands of fucking 2-viewer Andy streamers. Because, well, no one really gives a shit, you know? Like, are you really gonna go out of your way to watch a streamer that you've never heard of play World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14? Like, genuinely. Unless they have some kind of viewership that makes you think, wait, maybe they're interesting. The Hearthstone? That's what every streamer did before just chatting became a thing? Yeah, but I hate Hearthstone. Discussion. Hearthstone would definitely not be the game that I would play. If I were to play a game, like, just sort of hang out and play video games while I'm chatting to you guys, it would be stuff like Oxygen Not Included, maybe Civilization 6, you know, something like that where you're not really playing the game, you know? It doesn't matter. You're basically just sitting here talking to chat and you're not paying attention to the game whatsoever. I follow. I found through clips on Lulu's YouTube videos. Exactly. You find a clip, you find the clip interesting, and then you go look at the streamer. But if I take 90% of watching someone play Final Fantasy, 90% of it is very boring. You know, they're basically sitting there, they're voice acting the quests that you've already seen. Because I've watched a couple of streamers that sort of in ARR right now play Final Fantasy, so I already know the stuff. So what's interesting is when there's those big moments and you see their reaction, like, I had the same reaction. That was really cool. But let's be honest, it's not really the kind of game that you... I find games in general is very difficult to really watch on stream. If there's a really cool story game, it can be a lot of fun watching people play that story game. But even then, it's sort of like, you know, not everyone is going to enjoy that kind of stream. Josh, how you doing, bro? It is like a firework, a big bang once, then a dud. Yeah. The Goose Goose Duck game works well on stream, to be honest. So there's games that work. The games that work really well on stream are sort of shooters, right? So if you're watching someone play Call of Duty, Battlefield, Warzone, things like that, they work really well because it's high paced, high adrenaline, and especially if you're watching like a really talented streamer play that game, it can be really fun to see them do shit like that. If you, and then sort of wacky games, like social deception games. Apocalypse, how you doing, bro? Like Among Us is really great for streaming. Fall Guys was really good for streaming. You know, so it's sort of like interactive games that have very funny reaction moments. But then if you look at the vast majority of normal streamers, Xerial, thanks for the Prime sub, did really appreciate that. 2 months in a row. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How you doing, brother? If you look at normal streamers, the vast majority of normal streamers, if you're playing a game that is very story-driven, so the streamer is silent for the most part of the game because there's a lot of story going on, or it's like just repetition after repetition, like most MMO games are. Those games, they only work if you already enjoy watching that streamer, you know? So if you already like watching the streamer, then yeah, you're gonna watch and it's not gonna matter to you. But for everything else, you're probably not gonna like really go out of your way. Reason I don't enjoy watching FF? Yeah, I get it. I will play FF because a lot of people do enjoy the reactions that I have and the discussions that we have while we play FF about the game. Same reason I will play Star Wars The Old Republic and Guild Wars 2 probably eventually, and ESO and all those, right? Rare Vivo, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that, bro. How you doing, man? But my favorite thing, hands down, my favorite thing to do on stream is just to sit here, chat to you guys, and react to shit. That is definitely my favorite pastime on Twitch. I will never be a main game streamer. Never. I tried it twice in my life to go full-blown ham, let's play games the whole time. And I fucking loathed every second of it. It was sort of good for the first week, but then I hit that moment where I'm like, I don't really want to just play the game today. And now I have to force myself to play the game because the viewers come because they want to see that game. And then I start hating the fucking game because I have to force myself to play the goddamn game even though I don't want to play the game. And that is because I just started playing and avoiding spoilers as far as I can. Nixie, that makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. How you doing, Nixie? It's a show and tell issue. Twitch chat will recommend the same shit to every streamer. That's why there are more reaction videos than original content. I give you validation. Like, what I like is all Twitch content is now. I would say yes and no. I mean, reaction content works because I prefer watching reaction content because it's fun to see someone react to stuff. That's why it works. It's fun to see someone that you like reacting to something, whether you care about the So I watch almost every single video from Asmongold. Like, whenever Asmongold puts out a video, I watch it. It doesn't matter what the video is about. It literally couldn't care less. I'll just watch it because I like his reactions. Elodie, how you doing? How did you make, like, how can you make, like, did you just make it? No, but the new Steam account would still be region blocked, Elodie. Right? Yeah. Asmongold's not gonna fucking leave Lost Ark right now. I wish I could play Lost Ark, believe me. Yeah. That's basically what I will have to do. I might do that tonight. I wanted to do that last night, but I got busy with shit. I'll probably tonight have to, like, get a VPN. Because I haven't used the VPN in a while. So I'll probably sign up for, like, NordVPN or some shit like that. Then I'll start a new Steam account. So I did a lot of research last night about this. And almost every single person warned that you do not use a VPN on your main Steam account because it is technically against Steam TOS to use VPNs to try and circumvent geolocking. So if they catch you, they will fucking ban you quick time. They'll remove your shit. Yeah, NordVPN I think does. I had NordVPN contacted me a while ago wanting to sponsor me, and I turned them down. They tried to contact me. I'll tell you guys now. Let me see. I'll tell you guys in a moment. I'm just logging in. What the fuck? It's fine. I'll tell you guys now when they contacted me. For fuck's sake, are you serious? What did you do? Oh, they sent me a code. Oh my god, come on, man. Why are you doing this to me, Google? Why must you be difficult? I don't want to... I don't want to fucking do this. Come on. I'm logging in now. Give me a moment. Too bored. How you doing? Genio, how you doing, bro? Alright, so... NordVPN contacted me in December, and this is December 13th. The 13th of December, NordVPN contacted me, asking me to tell, to tell them what my prices would be. So I just replied to them, no thanks, I'm good. It's fine. Internet just doesn't work for me without VPN. It's either getting sanctioned from the outside or get censored and blocked from inside. Elodie, where are you from? Shroomy, how you doing? Oh, Iran. That makes sense. That makes sense. Another one of those governments that don't much care for freedom and, people having the right to do shit. So I can understand that. No, I didn't run today, but I did go on the assault bike. C-Pops, you bastard. Thanks for the Prime sub. Really appreciate that. 5 months in a row. How you doing, bro? You motherfucker. Hancock legend. How you doing, bro? Always use a VPN too. Uploading my NFT dick pics might get me in trouble. That is true. That is true. You've got a nice racket going on there. Some NFT dick pics. I can't judge that. Everyone loves dick pics. I have enough girlfriends who told me that they love getting unsolicited dick pics. Like, nothing makes a girl happier than waking up in the morning with, like, a bunch of dick pics in her DMs. But this I know for a fact. I've been told. Well, pixel dick, real dick, doesn't really matter, right, Mephi? As long as it's dick. And it's in your DMs without you asking for it. Girls love that. Guys, I'm in so much pain. This is not even funny. I am in so much pain. Oh, shit. Especially if they don't know you. Yes. Like, specifically if they don't know you. That's what they love most. We have collages. Exactly. It's a little collection. I think almost every girl that is on the internet can start their own porn site with the amount of dicks that they've received in DM. You need a dick t-shirt? Do I care, Karen? Pass it on to Alex. Tell Alex to make that for us. Because I will 100% wear a shirt like that. Dick. Do I care, Karen? Based as anonymous cocks. Oof, cock is a harsh term. Don't say cock. That sounds like you're not liking it, unknown. It's very harsh, that. Just use dicks. It's better. It's not as harsh. Doesn't sound as fucking heavy, you know? When you say cocks, it's very aggressive. I prefer schlong. Yeah, but since we're not in high school anymore, we'll call it a dick. I feel real bad for genuine Karens, though. My neighbor is called Karen, but she is as far from being a Karen as possible. Yeah, but I mean, I don't know why we started calling them Karen. Was the first woman who ever acted like this really named Karen? And that's just where, like, that's where the meme came from. You're a Karen, and therefore you're called a Karen. Pump action yogurt rifle. Oh, yeah. Yeah, one of my friends is called Karen, and she's one of the nicest people I've ever met. Yeah, I don't know. The one Karen, now in South Africa, we don't call them Karen, we say Karen. But the one Karen that I've ever met was like a complete shithead. So I can't really relate. I've only met one Karen in my life, and she was a fucking Karen. Man, I really want a shirt now that says "Dick, do I care, Karen?" Fuck. I really want that shirt now. My chest isn't so. My everything is sore today, and after tomorrow, my ass is gonna be sore as well. Just make that shirt. I don't make shirts. Alex makes shirts. I don't make shirts. If you want that shirt, you have to talk to Alex. You have to get Alex to make shit. I am not the one who makes the shit. Proceeds 1820 to you because I thought of it. You'd have to talk to Alex Apocalypse. He gets all the revenue from merch sales. So you'd have to talk to him and tell him to come up with a revenue split for you. Yeah, I don't take any of the proceeds from Twitch. So all subs on Twitch go to Alex. All donations go to Alex. All Patreon money goes to Alex. I take none of that. It doesn't belong to me. It's what I used to pay Alex. So, because without Alex, I wouldn't be able to do this job. I wouldn't be able to stream. I would have to cut the streams down to about 4 hours a day, 3 or 4 days a week, because the rest of the days I would have to edit shit. 5 more levels until 15? In which game, Elodie? I knew the Twitch stuff went to Alex, and obviously I am aware of the Patreon stuff, but I don't know about merch. Yeah. Prometheus, how you doing, brother? Merch, everything. The only money I get and that I keep for myself is YouTube money. Is the shit that we make on YouTube. I don't, and even there, I usually, 30% of that goes to Alex as well, to make sure that Alex at least gets enough money, that he can survive. So yeah, I don't really, I mean, I would be in a much better spot financially if I kept that money. If I kept all of this, I would be in a much better spot. To do some god level work for the channel. Oh yeah, without Alex, this channel would not exist. I wouldn't be able to put out anywhere near the amount of content at the quality that it's currently being put out. It would just not be possible. I wouldn't be able to do anything really. So yeah, that's why he gets all that. Why is my back sore? I didn't even train back today. Why is my lower back sore? Everything is fucking sore today, dude. I'm in a rough fucking spot. What's the hush money counter for? I couldn't think of anything else to call it. Anon. I could just say donations, but that sounded so boring to me. So I just went hush money and that's it. It's just sort of a counter that people see how much money have been donated in the channel for the month. So I reset it at the beginning of every month, and that's it. It really is just the redistribution of wealth. So people give me their money, and Alex spends it on whatever the fuck he wants. So that's really how it works. You see, it's a sneaky thing, Unknown. What I'm doing, what I'm not telling you, and what you wouldn't know, because let's be fair, you're all watching me on Twitch. You're not the brightest bulbs in the fucking in the shop. But what I'm doing with this is psychological manipulation. The fact that it's on there sort of sneakily the whole time tells you, hey, do you want to donate something? Maybe you've got $5 lying around. Come on, you know, just wink, wink, nudge, nudge, let's go. And then as it wink, wink, nudge, nudges you, you sort of go, well, okay, fine, I'll fucking do it. You know, I'll do it. I'll give a couple of money, a couple of bucks. That's why it's there. You do give enough subs. Don't worry about it, Unknown. I'm the brightest bulb in this channel, Inquisitorium, or in general. Not true. I have planted the thought of my NFTs in your head. I await your purchase. Hey, am I going to get rich if I buy your NFTs, Longcock Legend? Psychological manipulation? Exactly. I have chat, but no vid, no sound. 7-Raven what? I think she should reload. You see, that's the thing, Inquisitorium. If you're the brightest bulb in this chat, it does not bode well for you, because that doesn't mean anything. That just means out of all the 60 IQ Andes, you maybe have 65 IQ. Still doesn't mean that you're smart. It just means that in this chat, you're the smartest of the dumb people. And I do include myself in that. We're all a bunch of morons. We could all be sitting here watching some proper streamers do their shit. Instead, you are all here watching me do some shit. Define that. It's clear to me from the way you guys type. Face-looking guy in the Burns victim unit? Exactly. You still have your nose? Be grateful. Oh, shit. Typing sucks? Doing that every day? Yeah. I hate typing. I'm not good at it. Like, I type literally with two fingers. This finger and this finger. That's what I type with. I'll have you know, I am very smart. I can see that. Good job, Disco. Good job. We should give you a little star. But that's the life of a coder? Yeah, I would hate coding. I would despise doing that shit for a living. Okay, hold the phone, people. We've got work to do. We've got work to do. I've already uploaded one of the videos, so don't worry about it. One of the videos is done. It's uploaded. There's no admin that needs to be done on that video. We do have admin on the second video for the day that needs to be done. So we'll quickly do that. And then we'll figure out what the fuck to do with the rest of the day. Man, I want to play Lost Ark. You despise my life then? Literally all I do all day? What, typing, Longcock Legend? It's the fucking iPad. We'll have to wait till on computer. I had to type for a living as a software dev and writing technical manuals for applications. Job sucked. I type a stupid amount each day. It is kind of nutty. Yeah, mods type a fuck ton. Whenever I do go into like the Discord and someone says something that sort of convinces me to start typing back, that can turn into like a good 3-4 hours of fucking typing back and forth. Wait, so how many fucking coders do I actually have in this chat? Chance, how you doing, brother? Galactic Civilization 3, out of curiosity. I used to love space strategy games. It depends on the strategy game, really. Some of them is good. Some of them, not so much. You watched Asmon last night? He had around 270k viewers. Yes, I saw that. Don't start working for a game, Dave. Wait, you work for a game, Dave? I mean, whatever is below apprentice coder. What is below an apprentice coder? An apprentice is sort of the lowest that you can fucking go, no? Sly, how you doing, brother? You're a game dev. Nice. I'm an accountant for an insurance company. Madman who codes for fun. Jesus. Former C developer. Soft dev for energy company here. Intern. Is an intern lower than an apprentice? I feel like that's maybe the same thing. Like similar level, just different kind of title. But similar level, no? What's a coder? You are really proving, Inquisitorium, your smartness in this channel now. I mean, depends what you ask, right? What kind of coder? Because there's different kinds of coders. You can have blockchain coding. I think they use Hashwell most of the time. I think they use the Hashwell language, or there's another type of language that most blockchain guys use. And then you have C++, C++, which I think is sort of old school. I don't think that's sort of really used anymore, because there's better ones out there. You have Python, which my brother is a Python coder. You have... Jesus, there's so many fucking languages out there. But I think the... I think the vast majority of, like, old school coders would be C+. Coding. Because that was, like, the first real, I think, like, huge coding language that you could do basically everything in. You have JavaScript as well, I think. You have SQL, which is another type of coding. So there's like fuck tons of coding languages, and all of those would probably apply to different things that you do. So I know SQL is heavily used in data analysis. Python is heavily used in mathematics. So any sort of academic vein, people would use Python for the most part. For the 40k MMO. I remember learning a little bit about C++ way back in the day when I tried to set up a guild website on Engine. I don't know if you guys remember Engine back in the day, when to have a guild site, you would have to have Engine set up. And in Engine, if you wanted to do like really cool things, you'd have to do it in C++. So basically, you would have to Google, change the font here, and then it will give you like where to go and what to type in order to choose a different font. And then, so it was like crazy shit. There was a little bit of C++, and something else. I can't remember what was the other one. Oh, no, maybe you can, yeah? Brain fuck, totally unreadable for humans? Wait, that's an actual thing? Engine? What? No, Engine. So it's ENJIN. Used to be a website for, like, guild... fucking hell. So guild websites. If you wanted to have a website for your guild, where you would Lou Bloodman, how you doing? Praetorican, how you doing? If you wanted to, guild site hosting, but it was back in the day before Discord was a thing. If you wanted to have like a questionnaire that people had to fill out in order to apply to your to your guild, if you wanted to run your guild, you would have guild websites. And on the guild website, you would have a screenshot area, and you would have, achievement tracking and things like that. So it was, but a lot of it was sort of predetermined. So you could have sort of stock things, and then you could change things if you really fucking wanted to. It's real. Brainfuck. Wait a second. Brainfuck is an esoteric programming language created in 1993 by Urban Muller. Notable for its extreme minimalism, the language consists of only 8 simple commands, a data pointer, and an instruction pointer. While it is fully Turing complete, it is not intended for practical use, but to challenge and amuse programmers. Brainfuck simply requires one to break commands into microscopic steps. The language's name is a reference to the slang term brainfuck. Well, okay. Which refers to things so complicated and unusual that they exceed the limits of one's understanding. In 1992, Urban Muller, a Swiss physics student, took over a small online archive of Amiga software. The archive grew more popular and was soon mirrored around the world. Today, it is the largest Amiga archive, known as Aminet. Muller designed Brainfuck with the goal of implementing the smallest possible compiler, inspired by the 1024-byte compiler for the false programming language. Muller's original compiler was implemented in machine language and compiled to a binary with the size of 296 bytes. He uploaded the first Brainfuck compiler to Aminet in 1993. The program came with a README file which briefly described the language and challenged the reader, who can program anything useful with it. Muller also included an interpreter and some quite elaborate examples. A second version of the compiler used only 240 bytes. There are currently many Brainfuck compilers in the web. As Aminet grew, the compiler became popular among Amiga community, and in time it was implemented for other platforms. Parent language. Infinite Abacus, Brainfuck's grandparent language. Jesus. Alright, the Sin family, how you doing? It's a joke take on Brainfuck? Null Moon Lady, how you doing? Wait. Okay. Let me just, in case. I don't want to come up with something weird here. Definition of meaning. Doesn't seem to. Okay. Coding language. Isolang. Jesus. What? Is a joke esoteric programming language created by David Morgan Marr. It is identical to Brainfuck, except that the instructions are changed into orangutan words. It represents the first in a long line of Brainfuck command substitutions. As such, it is a member of the trivial Brainfuck substitution family of programming languages. So you would say Brainfuck OK.OK question mark, move the pointer to the right. OK question mark, OK full stop, move the pointer to the left. OK full stop, increment the memory cell under the pointer. Jesus. All right, so basically programmers just having fun. Is that what this is? This is just programmers having fun at the expense of everyone else. Because no one has a fucking clue. So I'm assuming this is what programmers look at all day. I'm gonna be honest. I'm bored already. I'm bored already, and I'm not even doing it. Thank you. We all here are fine, being on the dead back from Turkey to Germany, having a break at Bucharest. The weather is beautiful. Oh, sounds amazing, Nolman. That there is witchcraft. Okay, it's meant to be read as a sound that an orangutan makes. I don't know what sound orangutans make. So I don't know how I would fucking do that. Duke and Ookers. Yeah, this I could say would bore the living fuck out of me, Unknown. I could not do this for a living. Sitting there all day typing out this shit? No, thank you. I like my life as it is now. You want to know what I do? I hit start stream, and then about 9 hours later, I hit end stream. And then I'm done. That's my life. It's a much better life than fucking, I don't know, running around trying to understand some weird language. Oh my fucking god, dude. Oh, Jesus. Ugh. Okay. Fuck my life. I just started coding inadvertently. Prosperity. Prosperity, episode 9. All right. That's the one, right? Wait, no. Yeah, okay. Hey, Eternal Night, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the stream, man. Sleep well, dude. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for saying hello. Love your streams. Wishing you the best, man. Eternal Night, I really appreciate that. And I'm really glad to hear that you're enjoying the streams. I love making them. So as long as there's at least one person that enjoy watching them, I promise to keep making them. Hausen, or the first one? Who? What else would we evolve from 5-8? I don't think that is true. But hey, I'm not gonna. I don't feel strong enough about it that I would disagree. I think maybe shepherds also have a chilled living, at least in my mind. Just walk the herd, make sure they eat, have a break, chill, coffee, tea, etc. Yeah, but chill living is not the same as not being bored, though, right? You're very welcome, Eternal Night. So, I think... So, menial tasks is good. If you could get a job where your entire life is basically just one menial task after another, clearing up the higher faculties of your brain to think about things that is far more complex because you're basically just doing the same thing over and over again, that would be fine. But if you put me in a life where I basically sat around and watched sheep or cows eat and graze, I kind of feel like that would be the most boring fucking life imaginable. Clokey, how you doing, bro? Do you work to live or live to work? I guess that depends, because it depends on your goals. For me, I live to work because I enjoy my job. I love doing what I'm doing. So I basically wake up every single day and I work. I don't really do anything else. The only thing that I do that isn't work is going to the gym in the morning, which you could argue is part of work, because the more weight you lose and the better you look, the more viewers you're probably going to get and the bigger your community can get. So there's like there's definitely a tie in there to your job. But outside of going to the gym and maybe eating in the evenings, watching Harry Potter or whatever the fuck I'm watching, I'd say I live to work because I love my job. I love talking. I love hanging out. So it's good fun. But it's also because I have my goals would be set up in such a way. Optopi, how you doing, bro? My goals are set up in such a way that I'd like to get to a point where I don't have to work, where I just work because it's fun to do so. So I don't have to stream every day. I just stream because it's fun. That would be the perfect place to be, because I think that takes a lot of pressure off of you. Will I ever get there? Who knows? Probably not. But, you know, you never know. Pretorican, the only other career that I've ever wanted to pursue is making video games. I have no other career that I have any interest in pursuing outside of that. Outside of maybe acting. If I'm really pushed, I would probably take on a role or two in a movie or a series. But that would like be one or two and then done. Like, yeah, there is some math involved, but a lot of it these days, especially with the engines that we have now, isn't as much of a requirement. King Julian, I studied acting. And there is actually a video on YouTube of me acting. It's one of my first videos ever uploaded to the channel before we even had an idea of what we were doing. Like, I just started the channel basically to do that. Let me see. Sort by date added oldest. I think I made it private. Yeah, I think I made that video private. I'd have to go back and find it on my channel. Wake with Echo on my birthday stream. Whoa, Unforgive One, it's your birthday today? Don't you act every stream? Yeah, but this isn't really acting, because I'm not really acting, right? Unforgive One, happy birthday, bro. Can we get some love in chat, some hearts in chat for Unforgive One? It is his birthday. That's always a good fucking day. I, on the other hand, Inquisitorium, I do not think that I would make a great representative for gaming companies, because I don't treat people with, shall we say, kid gloves. So if someone started, clean, how you doing? Let's say, how you doing? If someone started complaining about shit, I would literally just tell them to fuck off or get good. Like, if someone started complaining on Twitter about, oh my god, the game is so hard, I'd literally just tweet at them, get good. And then that would be it. So I don't think I would be the best representative for gaming, because I don't like complaining people. Only I get to complain. Yeah, frankly, that is a skill issue. So yeah, I would probably not do. I'd love to work on a game in the sort of lore department. Clownstep, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. From your name, I'm judging you're in the right place. We are all clowns now. All right, we're almost done with this video, guys, and then we can relax and do whatever the fuck we want. Thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. How you doing, Clownstep? Law department would be a good choice for you too. I would love to work in a law department for a game. But I would probably also get triggered quite a lot. So I've been thinking a lot about the Harry Potter game that's coming out, and I am so scared that game is going to be a complete and utter mess, because the developers who make that game, are they going to spend enough time caring about the story, or are they basically just going to be like, you know, who cares about the story? We just want good gameplay. Is the gameplay going to be good? Are they going to be true to the vision that they laid out in the beginning? If you guys remember, when they first laid out the when they first announced the game, they basically said you'd be able to choose whether or not you're good, evil, all of that shit. So you can be a good wizard, you can be an evil wizard. It's really your choice. I don't know how that's going to work in the wizarding world. You know? And also, I don't know how it's going to fit into the lore. So there's a couple of things that bothers me quite a lot. Let's say you want to be a bad wizard and you use a spell like Avada Kedavra, right? That is like the instant kill spell. Now, would that instantly kill the other person? Are they going to make it so that it's more a case of it just takes a lot of health? What are they gonna? How are they gonna work a spell like Avada Kedavra? How are they gonna work such a spell? Salty Fries, how you doing, bro? Because if it's just an instant kill spell, then evil witches and evil wizards are gonna be OP as fuck. Expelliarmus could work, but only if you counted it before they casted it. So Expelliarmus would almost definitely not work. Protego Maxima could work, but again, you'd have to be very good in your timing of it, because you have to knock it away before it hits you. But if it does hit you, that is insta-death. Unless you're Harry Potter, in which case you survive Avada Kedavra and you win. Execute a containment, someone with full health, and they guarantee one hit. Technically, that is what it would be, right? Killability, like that, sounds like how to balance. Yeah, they would probably either not have that in the game. Yeah. They would probably not have that in the game just because it would be so difficult to balance, or they would just treat it as a normal spell. So it does a hell of a lot of damage. But the wizard doesn't die instantly from it. Or they could make it an execute. Vorman, that could work as well. So you can only use the spell if the other person is below 20% HP. Then you can use that as a way to basically survive. There's actually so much that they could do that would make the game really, really good. Because not all wizards are great spellcasters. So they're probably going to have things like Animancers in the game. Or, what's McGonagall again? What's McGonagall again? They have a name for it. People that turn into... people that turn into animals. It's like one of the... Is it Animagus? Is it an Animagus? I felt like she said something different in the beginning of the like the first movie. She called herself something else. I don't think it was Animagus, but I do know that that's actually one of the most difficult magical forms to master, to turn yourself into a different animal. It's actually one of the hardest magical sources to conquer. Sirius Black turned himself into a wolf? Yeah, Sirius Black could then also probably be Animagus. But then you have Potion Masters. Neville is a good example of someone that's very good at potions, but not necessarily good at anything else. Like, he's good. He can do spells, but he's not as gifted at spells. The best wizard of her age is Hermione. But in terms of casting, she's the best for her age. You have a bunch of others as well. Like, there's so many different wizarding types. Snape is also a potion master. Like, Snape is good at casting, but his real thing is potion masters. Transmutation, divination, enchantment, illusion. There's like a bunch of different, like, it's also going to depend on what do they use those for. Do they view those as jobs or professions, or do they become classes? That's also going to be a whole different discussion, right? Dumbledore is also a spellmaster. Dumbledore is actually considered to be the greatest wizard that ever lived. Which is, you find that out in Crimes of Grindelwald. You find out that Dumbledore. So here's the thing: Dumbledore is a dick. He is one of the most selfish wizards that ever lived. So, for example, if you read the books, my brother told me this. I never read the books, but my brother told me this. If you read the books, Dumbledore was using Harry Potter literally from the beginning. He was manipulating Harry Potter. So he didn't really care about Harry Potter. He was just manipulating him to get Harry Potter to kill Voldemort, or to destroy Voldemort. But Dumbledore is the greatest wizard that ever lived, or at least considered to be the greatest wizard that ever lived. Which is why in the Crimes of Grindelwald, they're trying to convince Dumbledore to actually fight Grindelwald, because no one else could face up against Grindelwald. Johns, from what I understand, so if you understand how wizarding works, the wand chooses the user, not the user choosing the wand. So if you had, for example, isn't it in the final movie where Voldemort takes up the Elder Wand and then the wand actually rejects Voldemort? So Voldemort can't actually, like, the wand is strong, but the wand is not strong in Voldemort's hands because the wand will not, like, really lend Voldemort its power. So the Elder Wand chose Dumbledore because he was so fucking strong. Kind of, but so this is where I sort of say, remember in the first movie where Harry goes to pick a wand? Do you guys remember that? To make Voldemort weaker? So in the first movie, Harry goes and he picks, yes, Ollivander. So he picks a wand, and then the wand does something crazy, like it fucking pushes shit off the shelf. It's just violent. And he's like, no, not this one. And then he picks up another wand, and that one doesn't really work. And then he picks up a third wand, and this is the one that is the sister wand of Voldemort's wand. And then that wand works. That wand actually works for Harry. And that's when Ollivander tells him, the wand chooses the wizard, not the wizard the wand. So I wonder, obviously this is sort of talking about lore aspects of Harry Potter that I'm not necessarily the biggest master on, but I do wonder, even if, let's say, Voldemort killed Dumbledore, so even if Voldemort killed Dumbledore, would the wand still have chosen Voldemort? Or could the wand still reject Voldemort because it just will not yield to that level of evil or whatever? One sentient or something? They are. Or pal, how you doing? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. They are semi-sentient. So wands obviously can't think for themselves, but the magic within them has to bond. This is how I'm viewing it. The magic within the wand has to bond with the wizard. If the wand's magic is incompatible with the wizard wielding it, the wand will simply not function. Like, not as intended. So you could see it with Voldemort. He could still cast spells and he was still very powerful, but the wand cracked under immense pressure because the wand and Voldemort's magic wasn't compatible. So it wasn't sort of like an extension of Voldemort, which is what a wand should be, right? It should be an extension of the wizard. It's basically like a focal point the way that I view it, at least. It's like it just allows you to focus all of your power into the wand. So you have, for example, it doesn't have to be a wand, right? Because you have what's that guy with the eye? Moody. Right? You guys, Alistair Moody. He doesn't use a wand. He has that staff thing that he fights with. That staff that he uses. So it doesn't have to be a wand per se. It just needs to be it needs to be something that can focus your power. When I think about shipping, also a person years ago said it's no work anymore. When you enjoy the work, you do the core from the core bottom. I can see that. Hagrid has his broken wand in an umbrella. That could also be it. So maybe he placed the wand inside the staff, and that's how the staff becomes a wand, so to speak. So maybe that's it, right? But I love these movies about the one who collects the fantastic beings. Yeah, fantastic beasts and where to find them. You've seen the way ones pick their cohorts. Each one has its own personality and looks for a match. Yeah, but someone else there said that's not how the Elder Wand works. So the Elder Wand basically belongs to whoever defeats the previous guy. So maybe that is true for something, because the Elder Wand is one of a kind, right? Yeah, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the prequel because it actually tells the story of Grindelwald, you know, and the story really of, Dumbledore. The Elder One picks the best, that's its personality, just accepts a new cohort if they're stronger than the last. Acrox, thank you for the follow, really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You see, but now think about all of these things in the game, right? So the Harry Potter MMO has the ability to be absolutely mind-blowing, right? It can be a phenomenal fucking game. Acrox, thank you very much. I'd really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thanks for the first time chat, man. Or it can be a complete failure. Elodie, I'm not sure if it's an MMO or if it's a multiplayer game. It is online. That I know for a fact. But whether or not they're going to go for a more multiplayer online game or whether or not they're going to go full-blown MMO, I don't know. What happened? Are you asking? Doc Savage, how you doing, bro? Gillen and Albus shippers? Are you asking what happened to Lord of the Rings online? Because, yes, Lord of the Rings, again, had... You see, the problem... The reason why so many movies don't make great games and why so many games don't make great movies is pitfalls. There are so many pitfalls that you can fall into when you're trying to turn a movie into a game or a game into a movie. Lord of the Rings and most of these games fall flat because they either try to copy the original movie so much that it just turns into a basically a collection or a collage of tropes. So it's just basically tropes. Or they try to focus the game. So for me, the Lord of the Rings thing actually failed because they tried to sort of focus the game on what you would call... Jessethoff, by the way, thanks for the first time chat. I'm not sure what were you trying to link, Jesse? Because that seems to be a bot timeout. What was he trying to link? Can any of the mods see? Not sure why streaming is timing out for what up. Why is Stream Elements fucking timing him out? JC, can you try typing something else? Because why would What Up be timed out? It's definitely fucking... It's his name. What the fuck? Okay, but that seems to be a little bit weird. If Twitch allows the name, then surely Twitch should... Then why would Stream Elements remove the name? That is probably true. Why is everyone trying to fucking type the word now? Can I ask? Why is everyone trying to type the fucking word now? Really? Like, every single fucking one of you are now going to type the word? Jesus. Anyways, like I was saying... like I was saying... if you made a Lord of the Rings game and you focused the game around early Lord of the Rings, so not you didn't make the game about the movies or the time frame of the movies, but you actually made the game about before the movies, sort of listed around before Sauron became Sauron. Can you imagine how fucking insane that movie would have been? Oh, that game would have been. I did play one of the RTS games, yes. And it was good, but not necessarily the greatest. JC, let me see what I can do about Stream Elements so you can actually fucking type. Let me see what I can do. Oh, thanks, Alex. Really appreciate that, bro. And for Harry Potter, I would also... We know... Wait, don't we know exactly what the... Or, pal, this is just fruit that I'm smoking right now. Do we... They did give a time frame, didn't they? Online is based on the books, not the movies. Yeah, but my point was, Lou Bloodman, what's the time frame for Lord of the Rings Online? Isn't it sort of at the time of the movies? So it played off in the sort of same window as the movies did in terms of time frame. So age-wise, didn't it play out around the same time almost? JC, we're taking care of Stream Elements for you. So just wait for Alex to tell you it's all good, and then you can type. Alex is on it. Really appreciate you coming in, bro. How you doing, bro? Yeah, Alex is taking care of that. Stream Element seems to replace Nazi bot nowadays. Launched 2007, if that's what you mean. No, Lou. So, games hit around this era. Which era is that? The Battle of Sauron and Finrod. So it is basically set around... What is this? The Second Age? Or is this the First Age? The War of the Ring. I think if you did something around the Second Age, that would be really cool. But you would have to, with something like Lord of the Rings, it would have to be incredibly story-driven. So you almost need to have someone, you almost need an ESO-esque kind of game, or a Final Fantasy sort of game, right? Where the story is everything. I don't know if we can listen to that song. Apocalypse. There we go. JC, how you doing, brother? How you fucking doing? It's doing alright for being an old MMO. It's not a bad game, really. It's following the ring, but you do other things instead of interacting too much with the ring directly. Yeah, I just think those types of games, if you're going to make a game like Harry Potter, like Lord of the Rings, you have to be, oh my Jesus, you have to focus so hard on that story. Because remember, everyone that is going to play a game about Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, why do you think they're going to play those games? What do you think would make someone buy and install Harry Potter, the MMO? JC, very happy to have you here, bro. Or you can make a PS1 Harry Potter game. Wasn't those also extremely story-driven, though? The original Harry Potter games? Actrix, yeah. If you make games where the original introduction to the game's story, the world, was very story-driven, like Lord of the Rings, like Harry Potter, like Matrix, you kind of have to, like, full-blown fixate on that. That has to be your thing, you know? If you deviate from that, if you try to make the game too much about gameplay, if you try to make the game too much into, like, a sort of cut and dry... Let's say, let me put it this way, to give a practical example. If you made the game too World of Warcraft and not enough Final Fantasy or ESO, it probably wouldn't work. Because the people who play World of Warcraft usually play it for gameplay. They want to do raids, they want to do dungeons, they want gear. The people who play Final Fantasy and ESO play it because they want story. Now, if you're going to make Lord of the Rings, it has to be story-driven. Because I want to play Lord of the Rings for the story. Because there's a very rich history there. There's a massive universe there. You can also have the gameplay stuff, but the story needs to be treated as the be-all, end-all of the universe. Otherwise, it will not work. Unknown Mephi, wait. No, surely you should be able to reply to him. Lord of the Rings had good crafting, but I never tried it myself. I've never played Lord of the Rings, so I have no idea. If they do a Harry MMO, I want to see the backstory of Harry's parents, because we never... So they're not doing a Harry MMO. They're literally doing a Harry Potter MMO, and if I'm not mistaken, hold up. Let's fucking pull this up so we don't sit here guessing. Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, so the game is called Hogwarts Legacy. It's by Portkey Games. And the Gryffindor who grapples with Hogwarts Legacy is an immersive open-world action RPG set in the world first introduced in the Harry Potter books. Now you can take control of the action, experience Hogwarts in the 1800s. So I think you're basically, like... Yeah, you're about, like... 100 years ahead, like between 50 and 100 years behind the books. So Harry Potter would not even have been born yet. There's a good chance that his parents would not have been born yet either. So you're basically playing like a really fucking you're playing before all of this batch had happened. So here's the Hogwarts Legacy. Let's quickly see. Discover the feeling. Okay, so experience Hogwarts in the 1800s. Your character is a student who holds the key to an ancient secret that threatens to tear the wizarding world apart. You have received a late acceptance to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and soon discover that you are no ordinary student. You possess an unusual ability to perceive and master ancient magic. Only you can decide if you will protect the secret for the good of all, or yield to the temptation of more sinister magic. Discover the feeling of living at Hogwarts as you make allies, battle dark wizards, and ultimately decide the fate of the wizarding world. Your legacy is what you make of it. That's that's sort of the story of the game, or the intro of the game. The Chosen One MMOs. As soon as I read this, it really bothered me as well, Actrox. So you're now this Chosen One, and you're no ordinary wizard. If this is an MMO, how is that going to work?
Magic, both beautiful and powerful, binds together our long history. That common bond we share is the legacy of Hogwarts. Now it is time to add your own story to these hallowed halls and, quite possibly, shape the future of the wizarding world. Every corridor, every portrait, every stone in this castle tells the story of witches and wizards who came before.
Graphics look good.
Here you will meet
music is amazing.
And grow into your own magical abilities in the classrooms of the world's most talented professors. And while your journey begins at Hogwarts, brewing potions, taming fantastic beasts, and mastering spells, there is a larger world beyond these walls. A world filled with dangers you can't yet imagine. An ancient knowledge long gone from this world. That strange and mysterious talent you possess may be the key to unlocking this dormant power.
That frame rate was a bit bothersome, but anyway.
Your potential is limitless. But what form will it take? The journey ahead will reveal what you stand for. The choices you make now will define the legacy of Hogwarts.
So, the thing is, when I first saw this, because this is what they basically, this was the only thing that they set out. I believe this was, when was this? This was 2 years ago, I think, at the Game Awards. Was the first time that they sort of put this out there. I assumed that this is a single-player game, a single-player open-world game, because that's basically the feeling that I get when I watch this. Since then, there's been like a lot of rumors that no, it's not a single-player game, it's a multiplayer game. Or no, it's not a multiplayer or single-player, it's an MMO. There's no information on their fucking site that tells you any of that. Like, this is all the information that you fucking have. That's it, right? So there's really not much that you can do. Whenever you say your choices, so this is why I thought this would be a single-player game. Is if you say that your choices will shape the world, that can't be an MMO. So how are you going to have an MMO if your choices shape the world? Because that can't happen. Because what happens if every single person chooses something else? Are we now going to live in 5 million different fucking worlds at the same time? Or is it going to be one of those things where you sort of fake the choices where, yeah, okay, I won't kill you now, but then you're just going to die in a cutscene later because you have to be dead for the story to continue, sort of thing, right? So it's a fake choice, which you can do, and if you do it well, that would work. My take on it was, like, let's see what frequently asked question. Okay, so what kind of game? Hogwarts Legacy is an immersive open-world action role-playing game set in the 1800s Wizarding World, which puts players at the center of their own adventure. That reads so single-player to me. Who's publishing Hogwarts? Warner Bros. Okay. When does Hogwarts Legacy release? Will release in 2022. Which platforms? What is J.K. Rowling's involvement with the game? Is this a new story from J.K. Rowling? J.K. Rowling is not directly involved in the creation of the game. However, her extraordinary body of writing is the foundation of all projects in the Wizarding world. This is not a new story from J.K. Rowling. How does Hogwarts Legacy fit into the Harry Potter Wizarding world? While Portkey games are not directly direct adaptations of the books and films, the games are firmly rooted in the Harry Potter universe while remaining true to J.K. Rowling's original work. Is Hogwarts Legacy an original story? Is an open world single player? There we go. Hogwarts Legacy is an open world single player action role playing video game. So it is actually single player. It is single player. So yeah, at the beginning this wasn't there. And this is the first time I've looked at their FAQ. All we saw in the original announcement, and that was all that was available on the website as well, was just that cinematic that you guys just fucking saw. Was that. That was it. That was all you fucking saw, was that cinematic. And then people started arguing, hey, is this an MMO? Is this a multiplayer game? Because they're saying that you're going to make friends, and you and your friends are going to do things. But clearly the friends that they're talking about are NPCs, which means you're going to do things with your friends and they're going to annoy the living fuck out of you because the AI is probably going to suck like it does in almost every single fucking game. So you're going to maybe do a dungeon with your friends and your friends are going to make the dungeon 1,000,000 times harder because your friend is going to be casting into a rock when they should be casting into the fucking boss. That's going to be great. Favren, how you doing, bro? Have you seen a post on Twitter by Mike Ibarra? Wait, are you asking Noble or are you asking me? Favren, is Noble here? I didn't see Noble here. Is Noble in chat? Oh, Noble is live. Yeah, I don't think Noble is in chat, but okay. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, never mind. Mike Ibarra, he tweeted out about 9.2 saying soon, right? Jono, how you doing, bro? Quick one. Are you going to play Lost Ark through a VPN or are you going to give it a skip? No, I'll probably tonight download Lost Ark through VPN. I just need to start a new Steam account through VPN and then play it. But no, I will probably do it tonight. I really want to play it. It's been one of my most hyped games. So the fact that we can't play it. So yesterday, when I found out that I can't play it in South Africa, it left such a fucking sour taste in my mouth that I was just ready to go, well, fuck this game then. You know what? If they don't want to launch it in South Africa, they may as well just go fuck themselves. You know? But today I'm a little bit less triggered by that. So I'm sort of going, okay, fine, fuck. I'll download it with a VPN. If that's what's required, I'll set up a different Steam and I'll download the goddamn game through VPN. Yeah, there's been licensing issues. So they won't give Amazon the right to license the game in South Africa. Can players choose and switch their Hogwarts house in Hogwarts Legacy? Players can choose their Hogwarts house at the start of Hogwarts Legacy. We'll have more detail to share at a later time. So what house are you guys choosing in Hogwarts Legacy? Hufflepuff. Slytherin, bro. Obviously Slytherin. Why the fuck would you go for anything other than Slytherin? Slytherin, bro. Fucking Slytherin. Hands down, Slytherin. Hufflepuff or Stoner House. They are lazy, dumb, and like food. Great botanists. I've been told I'm in Gryffindor, so I might as well choose that. I don't know what I am. Like, I've never done I've never done those online tests to tell you which house you're in. The Morrison, how you doing, bro? To be fair, I don't think the movies did Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw any favors. Online test years ago, so I'm going Gryffindor. If I'm evil, going Snakes. Incoming. Which Harry Potter nerd are you video? Maybe you should do that to have some fun if this becomes a video. Hey, alright, link me a test so we can see. I didn't record any of this, Alex, so if this does become a video, we'd have to cut it from the full stream. So if you want, I'll download the stream, or you can download the stream and we'll see. Because if you want to know where it is, the conversation probably started around an hour into the stream. Lady Daisy, how you doing? Well, I don't know what I am. I know what I want to be, which is Slytherin. I want to be Slytherin. Will Hogwarts Legacy adhere to Wizarding World lore? Yes. While Hogwarts Legacy is not a direct adaptation of the books and films, the games are anchored in Wizarding World lore. Avalanche is creating a unique gaming experience that is inspired by J.K. Rowling's Wizarding World, in which players will find new and unexpected locations, characters, and story elements. Does the game take place only in Hogwarts Castle? Hogwarts Legacy takes players beyond Hogwarts to new and familiar locations, including the Forbidden Forest and Hogsmeade Village. What is Portkey Games? I don't know. What does Portkey mean? Why is that even an FAQ? What type of games will be developed under Portkey Games? Don't care. Are Portkey Games created with J.K. Rowling's approval? Each experience offered under Portkey Games will take place in the Wizarding World and will be authentic to the Wizarding World. J.K. Rowling is supportive of Portkey Games and has entrusted the design and creation of the game to Warner Brother Games and the developers involved. If you can choose your house and it is not decided by the sorting hack, this game is instantly 0 out of 10. I don't agree with that. Because technically, you can choose your house. You saw Harry choose his house. Because the sorting hat wanted to put Harry in Slytherin. And Harry said Gryffindor. He wanted to be in Gryffindor. And so the sorting hat eventually said, okay, fine, Gryffindor. But you would do well in Slytherin. King Julian, what the fuck are you saying? So basically there's two things that Ravenclaw... But if you look at the houses that were most represented and explained, it is very clear that those two houses were Slytherin and Gryffindor. That's it. Like, the other houses were never really explored in any real way. So, sure, one of the Horcruxes were from Ravenclaw, and, you know, the ghost was Ravenclaw. But that still meant fuck all in terms of how much effort was put into the other houses versus those two. Now I get it. You're in a movie. You can't spend time basically focusing on every single fucking one of the houses, right? That would take a literal age to try and do. So I get why they didn't do it. It's just sort of like, I think if you read the books, you have a much better understanding of all four of the houses and what they actually mean. Versus if you only watch the movies. Because I only watch the movies, and I can tell you right now, if you asked me what exactly is Ravenclaw all about, what exactly is Hufflepuff all about, I can't answer that. I don't know. Because the movies didn't really tell me that. Hufflepuff's biggest influence in movie? Stuck by the Mentors. Yeah. Books are a lot more on the houses. Because the movies was all about Griffin Sleuth because of Harry and Draco. Yeah. It's yeah, we'll see. Hopefully the game focuses a lot more on that, because this is definitely one of my most anticipated games. I really want to play Hogwarts Legacy, and if there's no delays, we'll be able to play it this year. What man wouldn't want a blowjob where his literal soul gets sucked out, bro? That is what you call next level blowjob skills. Benral, how you doing, bro? Standard Hamster, you motherfucker. Thanks for the gifted subs. Did really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we get some love in chat? Gifted subs is always great. Thank you, comrade. Blown into oblivion. Lol. And again, the same could be said for Hufflepuff. One of the Horcruxes was the cup of Hufflepuff, so they too had some relevance. Bro, that's the equivalent of fucking saying, well, Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw were in the movie. They had dinner tables, so what are you saying? Of course they had relevance. Okay, cool. They were there. You wanna know what else was there? There was like a bunch of brooms. They had relevance to the movie as well. There was also some stones and walls. The walls were also well represented, I suppose, in the movie, because there were walls. I definitely saw a lot of walls. That doesn't mean shit. Like, I mean, what the fuck? How could you make that argument? You learn almost everything there is to know about Gryffindor. You learn almost everything there is to know about Slytherin. You learn absolutely nothing about Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff outside of that there is a Horcrux in those houses, or two Horcruxes in those houses. That doesn't give you any backstory of any of the houses. It doesn't actually show you anything in those houses, which is the whole point. So, consciousness. Yeah, I don't know why this is a debate. Your house is chosen based on your credit history. Oof. Oof. Rule number 1 of Hufflepuff: tell everyone you are Hufflepuff. You do learn a lot about the house, loyalty, beliefs, somewhat, but not. If we were to put it, okay, so I'll end the debate here. If you were to put it on a scale from 1 to 10, yeah, 1 being that you learned almost nothing about the house, as in absolutely fuck all about the house, and 10 being that you learned everything there is to learn about the house, where would you put Slytherin? You put it around 5, 6, maybe 7, because you have to understand there's more in the books, yeah? So you didn't learn everything, but you did learn a fair amount. Where would you put Gryffindor? In the movies. Don't use the books. In the movies. So not the books, the movies specifically. Where would you put Slytherin? Gryffindor, excuse me. 6, 7, maybe. Where would you put Hufflepuff? And where would you put Ravenclaw? So that ends the debate right there. You learned nothing about the inner workings, the common rooms that they had, the kind of students that really went there in the movies. So we know, for example, students that go to Slytherin aren't all evil. The book, the movies show this. Not all Slytherin students are evil. It's usually just wizards that really have a taste for grandeur and for importance and who want to be the best. So highly competitive wizards tend to go to Slytherin because Slytherin helps you sort of tap into that power that you have. Then if you look at Gryffindor, these are people who are loyal most of the time to Dumbledore, so loyalty is very high to Dumbledore. Their sense of right and wrong, their moral sense is very high. So if you have a very high sort of moral idea, you go to Gryffindor. It's the two houses are basically put as complete opposites to one another. And then also, I guess the other thing that you could say about Slytherin is people who have a bigger taste for purebloods would go to Slytherin. Since the House of Slytherin is literally based around the guy who founded it believed that Hogwarts should only be for purebloods, and that mudbloods should have no place in the house, or in the school, for that matter. So you don't learn that about Ravenclaw, you don't learn that about Hufflepuff, not in the movies. Yeah, King Julian, I don't know what point you're trying to make. I literally just said it's not evil people who go to Slytherin. It's shall we say selfish people? More? So not necessarily evil, but selfish. Go to Slytherin. Naomi, how you doing? I genuinely, like I said, I've never read the book, so I can't really say. Yeah, ambitious, selfish, very low on loyalty, very low on agreeableness. So if we were to put this to a sort of personality test, you would say that people that go to Slytherin are very low on agreeableness, very high on selfishness, very high on personal drive and ambition, and very low on things like loyalty, things like trust, things like teamwork, things like what's the other word I was thinking of? Friendship, things like that don't really count that high. It doesn't mean that they can't make friends or that they don't have friends. It's just that that's not their main. That's not high focus areas for them. Actrox. Okay, so while the Lord of Darkness and the Death Eaters were almost all in House Slytherin, not all people in House Slytherin will become Death Eaters and the Lord of Darkness, right? So, yeah. But I want to go to Slytherin. I don't give a fuck. I want to go to Slytherin. So in the game, I'm going to choose Slytherin. Because why wouldn't I? Enough about HB other than the source. Oh man, I love the movie so much. I told you guys, I'm currently rewatching it for the umpteenth time. Rewatching, and this time I'm watching the extended director's cut editions of the movies. I'm not sure if it's it's extended, but is it the director's cut? Have I watched the director's cut? Let's see. It's the Blu-ray extended versions that I'm currently watching. King Julia, I'm just gonna ignore you until you fucking come to your senses, bro. So yeah, I'm just gonna ignore you. Hey, fuck my life. If I'm gonna sit here and argue with you over every single thing, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. Two people waiting to Slytherin. This must mean that all people who go to Slytherin is, of course, bad. 28 hours of slow-mo? Snyder. Oh my god, that guy. Yeah, true. There are some people that just shouldn't do extended versions of their movies. Days! How you doing, bro? Thanks for the prime sub. Really appreciate that, bastard. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 4 months. Holy shit. You've really been throwing your money away. How you doing, bro? All of Slytherin are evil, of course. True. So fucking true. What other games are you guys very sort of hyped for? Gonna be my first? Total Warhammer is not going to be your first Total Warhammer game. I am excited for Baldur's Gate 3. Yes. Oh, the new Star Wars could be really fucking good as well. You are correct. Tempering my hype for Diablo 4. I have no hype for Diablo 4. And not because I think it's going to be a bad game, just because I've been my hype for Blizzard games have been killed enough times now to where I'm not at all interested in being hyped for a Blizzard game until I actually get to see it and until I actually get to play it. It's too fucking much. I was super hyped, like super hyped for Diablo 3. It was a complete and utter letdown. And before you guys go, what are you talking about? Diablo 3 was great. No, it wasn't. If you compare Diablo 3 to Diablo 2, Diablo 3 is a shadow of what Diablo 2 was. Man, if you compare Diablo 3 to Diablo 1, Diablo 3 is a shadow of what Diablo 1 was. Because at least with Diablo 2 and with Diablo 1, the game's story was incredible. The way the story was introduced to you was fucking dark. It was super dark. And it was scary. It was actually like crazy immersive. I remember in Diablo 1 shitting my fucking pants when I opened that door and I heard that voice, fresh meat. I wanted to fucking die, dude. That was so fucking scary. Diablo 3 had none of that. Like, none of that. It was so fucking cartoony. It was overly cartoony. And then, what pissed me off even more is that there were actual Blizzard developers who claimed that they needed psychological help after they worked on Diablo 3. And I thought to myself, yeah, probably because it was so fucking boring. Because I did not need psychological help after I played it. Like, I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Like, this game was so dark that you needed psychological treatment in order to get through your very dark creation of this game? Please. Like, fucking please. If you want to talk about really dark games, go to D1, go to D2. Those were dark games that really made you... It made you feel like you were in danger at all times. Diablo 3 felt more like just sort of a prowess of combat. You had all these incredible spells. You could basically just fucking slaughter everything as much as you want. The stories were incredibly linear and almost like an afterthought. It really felt as if Diablo 3 was designed for the rifts, the greater rifts at the end of the game. Everything that you did pertaining to getting to max level was literally just sort of an obstacle so that you could get to the true game, which was the greater rift system. Just love, yeah, very true. King Julian, because I can compare the two games. I can compare the games to one another. A good example of this is the game Fear. So if you ever played Fear 1 and Fear 2, Fear 1 was a truly horrifically scary game. The use of the girl in that game, the everything about that game was just absolutely fucking bonkers. And then you compare that to Fear 2, where they started to rely far more on cool factor rather than what made Fear the great game that it was supposed to be. Not that Fear 2 wasn't a good game. It was just nowhere near as good as Fear 1. Standard Hamster, holy shit. Another gifted sub. Really fucking appreciate that, dude. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Holy shit. Love in chat, guys. Love in fucking chat. I remember how scary Dead Space 1 and 2 was, but 3 just sucked. Microtransactions are not as scary. Shit, excuse me. almost all games fall into this thing where they eventually start trying so hard that it actually fails. Because their first games are almost always made from passion. They're making the game that they really want to play. And then at some point, they get to this place where now they're starting to make the game that they think other people want to play, rather than just sticking with what do we want to play. Right? So they try and go more hyped, more hyped, more hyped. I'll give you guys a great example of this. My favorite Resident Evil games is Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. All of the new Resident Evil games do not hold to what I have considered what made Resident Evil games great. The fact that you couldn't control the camera in the original Resident Evils. The camera was fixed and you sort of moved in and out of view of the camera and had to wait for the camera to swap. Sometimes you could hear things just on the other side of the camera, but you had no idea what those things were until you either walked to where the camera would swap again, and then sometimes you would walk into zombies literally on top of you. It created so much more suspense. And oftentimes the puzzles that you had were also reliant on you making use of the different camera angles to actually get the puzzle done. Whereas the other Resident Evil sort of feels like it's focusing so much on the killing zombies aspect of the game that the original sort of luster of the game went missing. The soul of the game went missing. Rio, I agree with you. Oh, you're talking about Resident Evil 5, right? That's the one that sort of took place in like Central or South America. And it wasn't really zombies. It was like, it was just people who were possessed or some shit like that. Or was it 4? One of those were sort of, I think, South American. Or Spain. One of the two. I just remember I heard some kind of Spanish thing. I played a little bit of it. Maybe like 2 hours of it before I stopped playing. So Inquisitorium, I don't agree. Wait, was that video sort of doing a video essay on the state of video games right now, or doing an explanation for why it's good? Was that video defending how video game companies now make their games, or was it more just telling us like this is why they do this? Because if his assertion is that video game companies now have to make games for millions and millions of players, otherwise they don't make money, I agree, but that's their own fault. They don't have to. There are plenty of games out there that don't have... So, for example, one of the reasons why games have become so super expensive to make is almost all games nowadays use live action. Right, so it actually has actors acting out all of the movements. Or mocap is a huge thing in games nowadays. So almost all of the cutscenes are motion captured. All of the all of the animations, the fighting animations, all of that is mocap. Mocap is very expensive because you actually have to get the mocap actors. You have to have the cameras, the equipment. You have to put those things into every single element of your game, so that it can be very, very, very fucking expensive. And then there seems to be this over-reliance on open world. And I'm actually not as big of a fan of open world games. Because more often than not, open world games is simply code for we couldn't think of enough content to make, so we're just going to give you an open world with sort of repeat quests that just take place in different areas on the map so that you can keep yourselves busy. Love my fucking ass off. Slight derail. Nobbles Law vids on PTR versions are usually like 20, 30 minutes long. The 9.2 one he just put out is only 9 minutes. Shit. Alright. VA and motion capture also makes any kind of choice in a game insanely expensive to make. True. Because you have to have voice acting for every single possible choice. You can't, like, it becomes so expensive. And I don't think you need to do that in order to have good games. I don't think that's required. I think game companies think that's required, but I don't think that's what gamers necessarily require. There was an example of, do you guys remember Rage? It was so fucking hyped, and then everyone played it and realized, well, no. I was not hyped for Rage whatsoever. The second they said open world, I was like, oh yeah, this is another one of those. And I was right. I was 100% correct on that. It ended up being an open world with absolutely fuck all to do inside of it. If it's done right, most of open world can be immensely fucking amazing. If you have an open world game, so I would say a good example of an open world game, even though I'm not really a huge fan of those games, but I've seen enough of it and played enough of it to know why it works, is Skyrim. It is an open world game, but no one can fucking say that Skyrim doesn't have enough content within the world not to justify the open world element of the game. Another one would be Red Dead Redemption 2. There is more than enough content in Red Dead Redemption 2 to justify the open world. The open world isn't just sort of something to keep you busy. The open world actually plays as part of the game. Red Dead Redemption 2 wouldn't work if it wasn't open world. Where for most games, open world becomes just another way of keeping you busy because there's not enough in the game. I've only played Dying Light 1 for like a short amount of time. I've never played Dying Light enough to be like anywhere near knowledgeable on it. Fallout series, somewhat Assassin's Creed series, Dying Light 1 and 2. All those are for me great open world games. I can agree with the Fallout series, even though I'm not a huge Fallout fan. I can absolutely agree on the Fallout series. I played Fallout New Vegas quite a bit of. Never finished it, but played quite a bit of it. What makes open world in Fallout so amazing is that feeling of being alone. That feeling of being completely alone in this changed and mutated world. Having to scavenge for everything that you need. It really makes sense in the game. So the open world becomes another characteristic of the game and another vehicle through which the story is told. So, for example, I played Far Cry 6. And Far Cry 6 is a fun game. With one exception. I would say 60% of everything in Far Cry 6 is basically the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So it's fun for like the first 2 or 3 hours. Then you realize that, wait a second, I'm basically just doing the same crap, just in a different fucking area. Why am I doing this? There's no point to this. And then you get to the point of the story, which is what the game is supposed to be about. The voice acting is horrible. Well, truly fucking atrocious voice acting in Far Cry 6. Some of those actors that they chose for that game, they say their lines, and I'm going, did you act at all, or were you just handed a couple of lines and you just said them? I'm not convinced that you believe anything you just said to me. I remember the last quest I did, they were sort of like, the actor was in a flat spin because something was happening, And it was meant to build this sort of anticipation, this stress moment in the game. And I just sat there and I was like, oh well, okay. Hey, Julian, I told you I'm just going to ignore you, right? Okay, well, what's your statement about King Julian? You doubt I could do a better job. First and foremost, I could do a better job. I am a very, very good actor. But that was never the point. I never said that I can do it better. But I can think of about 10 different voice actors that could absolutely do it better. Asked this in the past. Did you play any of the Legacy of Kain games? Not sure why I'm asking. Nothing to do with the current topic. Legacy of Kain, is that the... No, that's not it. There was a game where you were a vampire and you had this thing over your mouth and you would pull it down and then you would suck shit in. Was that... That wasn't Legacy of Kain. Was it? No. What was that? That was Soul Reaver. Yeah, no. I'm not sure if I played... Was that Legacy of Kain? Yeah, I played that. That was good fun. I never owned that game, though, so I never finished it. My parents wouldn't buy me the game because they basically said, fuck you, don't. We're not going to buy you games. So it was on weekends. We would go to the local video store, yeah, and they rented out games. So every weekend, I would book the game for the next weekend. And then on a Friday, I would go pick up the game, and then I could keep it because I would usually pay for Friday and Saturday, and then I got to keep it on the Sunday, and I had to return it the Monday afternoon. So every weekend, I played that until my mom got tired of driving me to the video game store or to the video store, and then that also dried up, so I couldn't finish it. What about Dungeon? Oh, Dungeon Keeper was great. But if you're going to ask me about a game like Dungeon Keeper, I prefer Black and White 2. Never played Black and White 1, but loved Black and White 2. Because it was sort of similar to Dungeon Keeper. You could also pick up your people and fucking throw them around and smack them and kill them. So Black and White 2 was fucking insanely fun. But Dungeon Keeper, just as good. Sadly, I tried to install Dungeon Keeper 2. About let's say a year ago, but it's probably not a full year ago. But I tried to install it again, and it will not run on my PC for some stupid reason. It will not run on the PC. Madness, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. They should have made a sequel to Nightmare Creatures. Well, that was a good old game. I don't think I ever played that. I know it's on. So I can get it through EA Play. If you pay for EA Play, you can absolutely you can get it through EA Play. It just will not go. It loads and then it basically just crashes immediately. So I'd have to get the GOG version of the game. I'll check it out because that was also stupid fun. That was during my Settlers days. You guys remember the first Settlers that you could play? Where you couldn't control anything. You could just build things and then your Settlers would do things. And I love games like that. Where you don't actually get to control anything. You just build it and then your people do stuff. And I remember whenever your people came to attack you, they you'd see your soldiers leave the barracks and they had these overly large shields. That was like stupidly funny to me as a kid. Although I will say a game that I played for a short period of time and then never again, and I think it's freeware right now. It's a game called Beast and Bumpkins. So I never played it. It's abandonware right now, but it's called Beast and Bumpkins, which I'll show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, so this is Beast and Bumpkins. It's it's a strange game because your people age, and the only way for you to get your population up is for people to actually have sex. But the aging in the game is done so poorly because you'll send out one of your villagers to take the cows for grazing. They leave as a teenager and they return as like a 60-year-old fucking man, right? So it's very fucking strange. Beast and Bumpkins. It's free to play. It's on Abandonware, so you can basically just download it and play it if you want. Beast and Bumpkins. But I played this as a child. Like, I was like a fucking small kid when I played this. I think you would need some kind of emulator for this. Because I don't know if it's gonna work on any modern day PC. I don't think Beast and Bumpkins would work on modern day PCs. I mean, this is like really fucking old. Yeah, you'd probably need something like DOSBox. Wasn't there someone who tried to revive the Caesar and Pharaoh games? Because those were fun as well. You had Caesar, Pharaoh, and Cleopatra, which were all sort of the same kind of games. And I remember playing the crap out of those as well. That and Cutthroats. That was my jam, bro. That was my fucking jam back in the day. Cutthroats. Being a pirate. I was too small to understand jack shit of anything. But, you know, still played it. What I could understand. Let's all just admit that Street Rod was the best. I don't know what Street Rod was. So I probably couldn't admit that. Even if I wanted to, I wouldn't be able to admit that. Oh, XCOM. Jesus. Wait, do you need DOSBox for XCOM Enemy Unknown? Is that game really that old? What system era did you start gaming on, Akron? So Madness, it's sort of skewed in South Africa because things like Nintendo wasn't that big when my father was young. So my father never got me any of the Nintendo things, like any of those consoles, because he didn't grow up with them because they weren't available at the time in South Africa. They were basically blocked because, well, back in the 80s, that was still considered to be made by people who were considered less than people. So they wouldn't have allowed those. The first system that we ever had was Sega, right? I had a Sega. And you also had those very cheap sort of gaming machines. Like very fucking cheap gaming machines. I'm talking like these little white gaming machines that had the cartridge that you would put in, and there would be like 100 different games on the cartridge. Like those games. We had those. Basically, we bought one every year whenever we went to the ocean on holiday. And my dad would buy those, I mean, for rainy days. So whenever it was raining, there was one or two options. Either when it was raining, we would go to the arcade and we would play games at the arcade for like 3-4 hours while it was raining. And then my dad would usually, after like the third or fourth day of rain, my dad would get fucking annoyed. And then he would just be like, fuck it. And he'd go buy one of those gaming consoles so that we can keep ourselves busy at home. And on that, obviously, I played Contra like a beast. I played so much Contra, dude. Almost every single December, we would be playing Contra. I mean, the first real console we had was Sega. And then we got a PC when it was before Windows was even out. So when you still had to do everything with DOS and floppy disks and crap like that. And then shortly after that, Windows 3.1 launched. So my dad upgraded the PC for 3.1, and since then it's been it's been PC. So I basically my real gaming sort of education started on PC. So, but see, the thing is, I'm trying to remember now how things used to work in South Africa back in the day. Because I'm not obviously old enough to, I was a young child when apartheid was still a thing and how it functioned. But if I remember correctly, most Asians were considered white in South Africa as per the law. Were considered white, except I think Japan wasn't considered white, but only because they were allied with the Americans and therefore obviously scumbags, according to my government. So anyone else could sort of live 100% free and do whatever the fuck they want, except for, I think, Japanese people. And that might be why we never got... why it wasn't that big. That sort of fell off in the 90s. So as soon as apartheid came to an end, that started to fall off. But obviously, most people who would play Nintendo games got introduced by their parents or their father or their mother to Nintendo, and then they started playing Nintendo. But my dad never played Nintendo, so he wouldn't have been able to introduce me to it at all. Acrox, true. But South Africa was never sanctioned by Taiwan. Taiwan never sanctioned South Africa. Thailand, I believe, never had sanctions against South Africa. Israel had no sanctions against South Africa. And Britain only joined in sanctions against South Africa after Margaret Thatcher. I think 2 or 3 years after Margaret Thatcher. That's when Britain joined in with sanctions against South Africa. So we could basically buy things for cheap from those countries. That was it. Hollandier, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you. Well-deserved sanctions, I may add. I'm not sitting here going, I don't know why the world sanctioned us. I fully understand why the world sanctioned us. I'm just sort of giving you guys the history of it. So I'm not saying, well, fuck the world for sanctioning us for having a complete fucking stupid political system that no one really agreed with, but still was the political system of the day. Too young to remember all of that? Yeah. I mean, I was 7 when apartheid came to an end. So I really can't speak to the the inner workings of it. And if you go to history, it's very difficult to know what's true and what isn't. Regardless of cartridges or consoles, PX, card game and board game, or even pen and paper, etc., doesn't matter. I always enjoyed games and playing with others together. 1981, so I was too young to really recognize what was going on. I was born in 1985. So, but there is a reason why the rest of the world was a little bit not happy with South Africa. I think unlike Saudi Arabia. So first and foremost, obviously South Africa didn't have oil. South Africa also had one of the cruelest racial systems in the world. And South Africa was very excited building nuclear weapons. Like, they were very excited about the building of nuclear weapons. And their reasoning for building nukes was, once we have nukes, the world can't shut us out. So the world can't tell us what to do once we have nukes, because then we can just fucking nuke the shit out of them. So it kind of makes sense, you know, that the rest of the world would be like, yeah, you guys are a bit weird. Like, you don't seem to want to play by the rules, and also you seem to try to figure out how to get around the rules more than just falling in line. So, you guys are weird. Kind of makes sense. Aureus, how you doing, bro? Can you not say that when it was written by someone of that time period, Echo? Because a lot of the history, like with all dictatorships, is dictated by the dictators. So you don't actually know exactly what happened during that period. So, for example, there's this misbelief that under apartheid, white people were living like kings and black people were being oppressed, which is not actually true. The vast majority of white people also lived in complete oppression. They couldn't say whatever the fuck they wanted to say. They couldn't consume whatever they wanted to consume. News was heavily regulated by the government. And if you said stuff against the government that the government did not enjoy, you would disappear overnight. Like, my father told me stories of growing up and their neighbors, literally just one morning they woke up and the neighbor's house was empty. Empty, as if the neighbors had never lived there. Just gone. And later he would find out that the neighbor was actually in league with a group trying to overthrow the government, and the government literally just disappeared them. So if you spoke out in any way, shape, or form against what the government was doing, even if it wasn't about apartheid, you were just basically fucking saying the government is bad because they're doing stuff, they'd be like, nope, we think we're just going to remove you from the system because you're pissing us off now. Coming up on your left? Nothing. Shadows Gallic, how you doing, bro? SPJC, how you doing, bro? Naomi, how you doing? I mean, my government now is just a bunch of morons, but yeah, I don't think they're evil. They're just stupid, but they're not evil. At least I don't think they're purposefully trying to be evil. I think they're just morons. They have an idea about a system that they think will work that hasn't worked anywhere else, but they think they can, you know? So yeah. I guess we'll see. So what are we doing, people? What are we doing? Better than evil, probably? Yeah, I mean, anything is better than evil, right? There's like so many things that I didn't know that I had to... I was so confused about. So there's a book that was written by a guy who basically... He had to uncover so much before he could figure shit out. But... he wrote a book about the spy network of South Africa. South Africa had the largest spy network in the world during apartheid. So the South African government knew what every government in the world was going to do before the government even discussed doing it. So if there was a politician in a foreign government that wanted to bring up some kind of sanction discussion, the South African government already knew about it. It was only recently, like 3 years ago, that the world, investigators in Paris, found a spy network that they never even knew existed from back in those days. A South African spy network, which... they found a shell company that existed in the 80s that didn't produce anything but had like a fuck ton of money. And then they started following the paper trail of this like government company. And they started realizing, wait a second, there's similar companies in America. There's companies in the UK. There's companies like this in all of Europe. So they sort of started like uncovering this web. And then they basically just said, well, we have no idea where all of these lead, but we can say that this may have been like the largest of the South African spy networks. But basically, South Africa had like 7 different spy agencies, and none of them knew about the others. Sen, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. doing some research. How much subscribers does a 10k follower channel average? I can't answer that, Sin, because it really depends on the channel, the content creator. I won't be able to really answer that for you, but I'd say probably most of them between 400 and 600. Also, your followers don't really matter, Sin. You can have 100,000 followers, and if you only have 80 viewers, you're not going to have 400 to 500 subscribers. No, they don't have this spy network now anymore. Yeah, the month of the year would affect that. The week of the year would affect that. So it's a difficult question to answer. The average rule of thumb is that take a person's viewers and times that by 3, and that gives you the amount of subscribers that they have. No, Noah, I can tell you right now that my government does not have a spy network. My government isn't smart enough to have a spy network. Dude, there's not a single thing that my government has run in the last 25 years that they've not fucked up. If South Africa had a spy network, it would be the worst kept secret in the world. Like, everyone would know what those spies were doing at every moment in time. So I can almost guarantee my government does not have a spy network. They may have a spy agency, but you know, I don't think they know what the fuck they're doing. What are we playing, people? I still don't have an answer. What are we playing? That is true, Actrox. I'm not playing WoW. I don't want to play Goose Goose Duck. You're playing my mom, King Julian. That would be interesting. You realize I could do the whole my mom died in 2006 thing and make this very awkward for everyone involved, right? Blackjack and hookers. I don't know if that's TOS, though. Blackjack maybe, but hookers might be an issue. I can't play Lost Ark, then. I would love to play Lost Ark, but I can't play it. I'm from South Africa. It's blocked like fuck here. Yeah, I'll have to download NordVPN tonight, install a new Steam, buy Lost Ark Founders Edition, and then we'll play it tomorrow. So if all goes well tonight, we will be playing Lost Ark tomorrow. But yeah, can't do it now. So Swatter is probably coming up within the next week or two. Time for that NordVPN sponsor. I've purposefully decided not to take up sponsors anymore. Oh, I don't mind, King Julian. I don't mind your mom jokes. But I do love whenever someone makes a your mom joke and I can sort of go, dude, my mom's dead. Like, what the fuck? Because most people feel very awkward after that. Like, as soon as you do that, most people are like, oh, sorry, I really didn't know. And then I get to laugh at that. So I have to. Do what Kira did and get sponsored by BJ Machine? Wait, Kira actually got sponsored by a blowjob machine. Not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends? True. None of your conversation, guys, helped me pick a fucking game. You realize that, yeah? You guys keep distracting me, and we still don't have a game to play. Just play Final Fantasy 14. We could play Final Fantasy 14. That is definitely an option. Back 4 Blood will play on community days. I'm open to buying games. I don't really give a fuck. Like, I could buy a game if I don't own the game. DSP. Lol. I don't really have a large list. Not on Steam. Vampire Survivors. I've heard some things about it, but it doesn't look like my kind of game. It's roguelike or action roguelike, which I don't think is my kind of game. Dyson Sphere is a cool game, but it's driving me up the fucking wall. No, we're not playing SWTOR right now, because the first person ever to have suggested SWTOR is Zofia. Zofia is on holiday, so I promised Zofia that we will only play SWTOR once she's back. So we can't play SWTOR right now. That's not an option. SWTOR is on the list as soon as she gets back from holiday. But she's been hounding me for about 2 years now to try SWTOR. So it would be it would be scumbag supreme if I started playing SWTOR right now. You should. I don't know if story games will work. I've been sick and not paying much attention. What is the big deal about Lost Ark? It looks like an incredibly good game. That's the big deal, Shamanita. It's a new MMO. It's sort of an ARPG MMO. And it's just, it looks incredibly fun. Yeah, it's Diablo style. It's an isometric view, top-down Diablo-esque MMO. So basically, you guys just want me to play a fucking MMO. You don't care what game it is as long as it's an MMO. ESO is pretty fun. Witcher 3. Say, how you doing? Oxygen not included. Yeah, I saw Yabara hinting at 9.2 very soon, or real soon. How many of you are going back to World of Warcraft in 9.2? Let me relog. I do read what mods say. Back to WoW without them paying me? Depends on reactions. Crickets, I'll give it a shot. Me, obviously. It's still the cleanest playing base raid game. I'm back now. Yeah, I don't know if 9.2 is going to bring me back. I'll give 9.2 a shot, but it will most likely be just to go. So I tried out 9.2. Here is my take. Oh, shit. Pre-patch announcement. Wait, what? When was this? February the 8th. Hold the phone. Hello, everyone. We hope you're all keeping well. It has been a whole festive period since we've spoken. We've not been resting on our Yule logs, though. Patch 7 is almost here, and we're so excited for you to play it, we could explode. That isn't necessarily a hint. We're just very excited. We've got a panel from Hal coming up to properly reveal it, but let's just say it's going to be pretty cool. Okay, that might have been a hint as to what will be in the show itself. Just keep yourself calm and all will be revealed soon. Now, on to the meat of the day. Patch 7 is on the horizon, weighing in at approximately 32 gigabytes. Jesus. So clear some space from the digital platter. So we have to remind you that any saves made on patch 6 or prior will no longer be compatible when updated. With patch 7 installed, the total install size for Baldur's Gate 3 will be approximately 100 gigabytes, so make sure you have plenty free. So let's talk branching. If that is what you desire, there are options for you if you want to continue saves from previous patches, or if you want to make sure you're staying current. Check out the below instructions for whichever method suits. How to update your game for patch 7. How to continue your patch. If you'd like to continue before starting, a note on the mods. Okay, so apparently this patch 7 is pre-patch. When do you think Baldur's Gate 3 is finally launching, like proper launching? Fall 2022. Holiday, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think they said autumn, but it's starting to feel like that's just not gonna fucking happen. And I am chomping at the bit to play Baldur's Gate 3. I am so excited for Baldur's Gate 3. And it just doesn't seem to fucking get closer. Like, it's now 100 gigabytes. It's still just chapter 1, right? It's still just act 1. Now, I'm assuming the other act is already in the game. It's just not been made available to play. Because if act 1 alone is 100 gigabytes, and there's, I think, 3 or 4 acts to the full game, is that going to be the first time in the history of ever that we're going to have a 400 gig game? Actually, I'm lying. Not the history of ever. I think Call of Duty came close to 400 gigabytes. But this is going to be, what, one of the largest games ever to be made in the history of fucking ever. I think it's still just Act 1, yes. Because they're basically using Act 1 as their test phase for everything. $400 gigabytes. I don't think I would mind a 400 gigabyte game, but I think there's a lot of people that would mind a 400 gigabyte game. I think there would be a lot of people that's like, what the fuck, 400 gigabytes? You're having a laugh, mate. Go for lunch break. Take care, Nolnoon. Enjoy lunch. And then Valheim shows you what you can do with only 1 gigabyte. So gotta delete some stuff. WoW's folder by now must be close to 400 gigabytes. No, because World of Warcraft constantly does. This is the one thing that Blizzard actually does well. It is sort of cleaning up their drive. I don't think WoW is 400 gigabytes. The other act would come out later for testing if you buy it in early access. Noah, it's my understanding from what they said at the beginning, if you buy for early access, you only have access to 1 act. And that on the official launch day, the game will be, like, that's when all the other acts will release. It's one of the reasons I've stopped playing. So you guys remember we had a stream for Baldur's Gate 3, probably like a year ago at this point. And I only played for 1 stream, about 8 hours. And then I said, no thanks, I'm just not going to do it anymore. Because I don't want to spoil Act 1 for myself, and then I have to fucking go back and play it again. You know, because I can't finish the game right now. 100, but only takes around 80. Yeah, World of Warcraft does a good job of cleaning up space. Oh, and Noah, you can't actually, like, your previous save games actually don't work every single time they bring out a new patch. So when the game finally does go live, you would have to replay Act 1 in order to, you know, play Act 2 and Act 3 and Act 4 to see the rest of the game. I don't want to do that. I don't mind replaying games like that, but I want to replay them on my terms, not because you fucking told me not to. So, yeah. Patches can be downloaded fully before installing. Hold on. Yeah. Still, I don't even know what the largest game would be. Wasn't there a game that just launched that is like 100 gigabytes? I want to say Lost Ark is like 100 gig, isn't it? $17. Red Dead Redemption is pretty big. Let's see how big, actually. Red Dead Redemption 2. It does tell you here, doesn't it? I know I already fucking own the game. 275 gigabytes Ark Survival Evolved with all the DLCs. I don't think there's a game with one terabyte. I don't think a game like that would work. No one would play a game that is 1 terabyte. Yeah, COD Warzone probably, but most normal games wouldn't be like that. Let's see. This is Red Dead Redemption 2. It requires 150 gigabytes of available space for Red Dead 2. So probably like 130, 140 maybe, leaving space for some patches and stuff. Impress, how you doing? Biggest games of all time. Ranked install size. All right, let's see here. 10 biggest games of all time ranked by install size. With each generation of video game consoles, games continue to get bigger and better. Worlds are teeming with detail, continue to stretch beyond the horizon. Character models are intricately detailed, and the sheer amount of quests and content for players to work their way through has crept up into the hundreds of hours to complete. Lies and more fucking lies. Most games don't have hundreds and hundreds of hours to complete the game. They have hundreds and hundreds of hours of wasting mechanics. The actual game is usually like 20 hours. So here we're looking for at the 10 biggest games of all time ranked by their install size. A quick note here, to save this from being a very repetitive list of Call of Duty titles, we've bundled most of those together and focused on the latest and largest entry, except for Call of Duty Warzone comes in at number 10 at 95 gigabytes. All right. Elder Scrolls Online at 96 gigabytes. Forza Horizon, a car game at 98 gigabytes. What the Why? Tom Clancy's The Division 2 at 112 gigabytes. Okay, that makes sense. Then you have Gears 4 at 117 gigabytes. You have Halo at 125 gig. Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition, 148 gigabytes. Microsoft Flight Simulator, 150 gigabytes at number 3. Number 2, Quantum Break at 158 gigabytes. And number 1, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War at 164 gigabytes. So that is the biggest game right now by install size. Yeah, that would make sense. People were complaining about this. Well, actually, people were complaining about this game because they just kept releasing patches and patches and patches and patches. And after a while, it was like a good 200-300 gig for the game. Yeah. I still don't get why people play Flight Simulator. What's the point? You're just flying around. Is it really a game? It's not really a game, is it? Like, I get, maybe if you're playing like with all the fucking toys, you know, you have like the flight controls and everything, maybe. My dick pic folder is at least over 1 terabyte. Apocalypse. Do not insult me. 780 gigabytes of dick pics is fucking amateur levels. It's fun and you get to see new places. Yeah, I wouldn't play that. Talking outgoing dick pics, not received? Oh, right. Yeah, I don't send that many dick pics. Only in certain circumstances. Dick pics? How many pictures? 2? Yeah, it's all 4K. I want them. If you're gonna send me dick pics, it has to be high res. I don't want to see pixels. Like, don't send me out of focus dick pics. I want to see it in all its fucking glory. On here, playing Truck Simulator and taking it very seriously. Jesus. All right. I guess, you know, there's a game for everyone, you know? There is definitely a game for everyone. 3D model dick pics. No, I want real life ones. I don't want fucking fake ones. Neo, if I didn't live in South Africa, I would be playing Lost Ark right now as well. It's just sad that I can't, but I would definitely if I didn't live in South Africa. Let's go to content suggestions. What have you guys got for me here? So, trying to see what was the last thing that we reacted to? Okay, we have number one game unknown, Game Theory. 97% of you can't name the most popular video game. All right. Preach is playing Final Fantasy 14. There is videos I suggested yesterday. I saw your videos that you suggested yesterday, but I have to go down the list. I sent you this morning. No, I have not reacted to the tweet yet. But we will. Yeah, it's sort of weird. Why is Preach not playing Lost Ark? Is he just too engaged in Final Fantasy right now, or? Because I would have thought that he would absolutely have been 100% on board with playing Lost Ark. He loves playing MMOs, so why wouldn't he play? Type to split himself between MMOs in a toxic relationship for Preach? Yeah, sadly. I don't know, although Final Fantasy really isn't a toxic relationship kind of thing. It is a fun game. All right. Come on, you fucking bastard. Dude, this fucking Brave. Whenever you open Twitch on Brave, it is so laggy. Then want to buy the Founders Pack, maybe? I don't think Preach would have a problem with buying the Founders Pack. Alright, so the Game Theorist says, Game Theory, 97% of you can't name the most popular video game in the world. Let's see. It's going to be Minecraft or Roblox. I hope it's not Roblox.
Here's a pop quiz. What's the most popular 5v5 MOBA game right now? If you answered League of Legends, you're wrong. League of Legends' daily active users count is around 10 million, which is impressive to be sure, but small potatoes compared to the real answer, which has sometimes had over 100 million daily active users. So let's try again. What has been the second most downloaded mobile game in 2021? It's also the most downloaded game of 2020 and 2019. In total, over 1 billion downloads on Google Play alone. Fortnite? Candy Crush? Clash of Clans? No, none of these. Unfortunately, no one can simply tell you the answers to these questions. You have to see for yourself that what you know of as the gaming industry has been nothing but a lie. It is the world that's been
Wow, he's taking this very, very fucking serious.
pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. This is your last chance, theorist. After this, there is no going back. You take the blue pill, and the story ends. You wake up in your bed, and you believe whatever it is you want to believe. You take the red pill, and you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep this rabbit hole goes. Remember that I'm offering only the truth, nothing more.
Yep.
Good. Let's begin. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, the show that today is pulling you out of the Matrix. By the way, did you know that Matrix 4 is supposed to come out this year? Yeah, totally forgot that they were making that one. Anyway, it makes my dated reference in the cold open of this video feel a little bit more timely. Totally 100% planned. So, you know those Iceberg Explain style videos that have been popular this year, where the host takes a topic and then goes through layer by layer the different levels of insider knowledge about said topic? In case you're not familiar, let's say you have like the YouTube iceberg. On the very top would be stuff like Despacito, Jimmy Fallon clips, mainstream viral videos, the stuff that anyone visiting YouTube would know about because it's on the surface. It's right there on the homepage, you don't have to be logged in, it's just served up to you. Then a layer under that would be stuff like PewDiePie, Mr. Beast, React videos, Minecraft, you know, top creators and trending topics that pretty much everyone is at least vaguely aware of. Keep going down for—
Am I on this list now? Ben Raging, how you doing? Am I also a React YouTuber now? Shit.
further and further into the iceberg, and you pass things like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared and Poppy, before eventually you go all the way down to the bottom depths of the iceberg where you find the Petscops of the world, your YouTube poops, and some of those Nightmare Fuel International channels.
What is Petscop? What the fuck? I've never gone that deep.
Well, the reason I bring it up today is that recently I became aware that we all, without even realizing it, have been existing on the tip of one of these icebergs. The gaming industry iceberg. We all thought that the iceberg looked like this, when in reality, it looks a whole lot more like this. Like, if I asked you what the biggest game in the world is right now, what would you say? Fortnite? Among Us was huge for a while last year. Maybe Call of Duty Warzone, because that's new, or League. League is always big. The real list of biggest games in the world, though, Minecraft and Roblox and things are definitely up there, but that list is also going to be rounded out with games that you've likely never heard of. You see, this topic first caught my attention back during the 2019 YouTube Rewind gaming section. For those of you who don't remember, 2019's Rewind recapped the videos that got the most likes in different categories, like a fancier version of a Watch Mojo countdown. Except for gaming, of course, because the videos that the creators make are less important than the games that they're playing, unless they happen to be streamers that were stolen over from Twitch. No offense to Tim the Tatman and Dr. Lupo, I'm so happy for them that they got their bags. Just saying, at this point, I feel like I have to go to Twitch so that YouTube can pay me to come back. Anyway, true to form, 2019's Rewind didn't seem interested in the gamers or the individual videos that were made, but rather they focused on the top games that were played. And it was a list that consisted of largely what you'd expect: Roblox, Fortnite, GTA, Minecraft at number 1. But one of these things was not like the other. Garena Free Fire. Never heard of it, but apparently it was the 4th most watched game of the year.
I remember watching that. I remember we watched the YouTube Rewind, and when they brought up Garena Free Fire, I was like, what? What fucking game is that? Voidwalker Blood, how you doing, bro?
Think about how crazy that is. It'd be the equivalent of us not seeing a single Among Us video last year. And that's actually what happened, because in 2020, Garena Free Fire grew and surpassed both Fortnite and Grand Theft Auto to become the 3rd most viewed game on the platform, behind only Minecraft and Roblox. And yet again, for the 2nd year in a row, I never saw a single video talking about it. No one seems to be talking about it. That's not an exaggeration. Do a Google search for mentions of Garena Free Fire on Polygon.com, you get literally 0 mentions of it. Ditto for Waypoint, literally 0 mentions. Do the same search on Kotaku and you find exactly 1 article listing off that, wouldn't you know it, it was in the YouTube Rewind 2019. How is this even possible? I'm not super into games like Roblox, but at least I know what it is, and when I find that it's one of YouTube's biggest games, it's not that big of a surprise. But Garena Free Fire is not only a billion-dollar franchise that has, for the last 2 years, been one of the world's most downloaded mobile games, it is now bigger than Fortnite on
mobile. Of course it's a fucking mobile game. What was I expecting? It wouldn't be a PC game, because then we would actually know. Because everyone that is actually talking about this game is being paid by Garena to actually fucking play the game. Occultist, how you doing?
YouTube, and yet not once have I or anyone else on the team ever seen it talked about. What is going on? I had to dig in and research the topic, and spoiler alert, this isn't just a video about a single game. This is the story of a much larger trend that many gamers have been blind to for years. As someone whose literal job it is to stay on top of what's happening in the gaming world, it's honestly a little humbling, but it's also exciting because there's an entire undiscovered world of gaming that's been lurking under our noses for years, and I'm gonna call it right now, it's gonna drastically change the way that we play games in years to come. And when I say years to come, I'm not talking about 10 or even 5.
No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. It is not gonna change the way we play video games. No single fucking sane human being is going to go, hey, you know what would be fucking great? If I could replace my very large 32-inch monitor with absolute picture perfect color and all of my RTX technology with a fucking phone the size of my hand. No one is gonna do that. Like, not a single fucking person go, yeah, that is exactly what I think I will do. Like, bullshit.
5 years into the future, it is happening as we speak. So since I've already teased it, what is Garena Free Fire? Well, to the people who actually play it, it's usually just Free Fire. Garena is the name of the company in Singapore that created it. It's a mobile game that, in terms of gameplay, is a lot like PUBG and Fortnite. It's a battle royale game where you and dozens of other players parachute onto an island, look for weapons. Look, you don't need me to explain what a battle royale is at this point. Now, for you
Everyone
royal
knows what
theorists
it
who
is.
watch to the end of every video, you may already know that I was sponsored by them a few weeks ago. They even invited me to attend their 4th anniversary event in Las
Easy. I was sponsored by them a few weeks ago. Oh, it's so cringe whenever fucking YouTubers accept sponsorships from mobile games, dude. I find it incredibly cringe. Because I think mobile games is everything that is fucking wrong with the video game industry. I could not accept a sponsorship from a mobile gaming company.
Vegas, which was very cool and gave me a great chance to do some research on the community around this game. But what I want to make crystal clear is that this video is entirely #NotSpawn, specifically because I wanted to be able to talk freely about the title. You'll notice that throughout the video I'm not stating any opinions about the game, just quantitative facts about it, because to me the most interesting thing about it is the phenomenon it represents. The game is built to prioritize performance on low-powered devices with weak internet connections, and that's not coming from me or a series of talking points. That's actually me translating from an original Portuguese review of the game in Tech2do, a Brazilian publication. And I bring that up for a reason. Brazil's a country where the minimum wage in 2020 was 1,039 real, the equivalent of just under $200 a month, barely more than $1 an hour.
Wow.
Obviously, this means that you're gonna have a country with more than a few budget-conscious gamers whose only gaming device might be a low-end smartphone. So it shouldn't come as a huge surprise that a game like Free Fire, which aims to deliver a premium gameplay experience on non-premium hardware, is gonna be a huge hit there. Same story in Thailand, where Free Fire was the most popular game of 2019, and the minimum wage is 331 baht per day, the equivalent of $10.11 per day.
Whoa, how do you live on $10 a day? That is not a lot of money. That is not a lot of money. But I'm already starting to see why this game is so fucking huge. Because it really does cater to a very huge population of gamers. Because it's not that it's only catering to the poor, right? It caters to the poor, sure. But remember, there's middle-class people that's probably going to play this as well.
Day in US currency. Free Fire, also huge in India. Now, if that was all there was to the story, I wouldn't have bothered making the video. But here's the thing. While this might seem like a case of other parts of the world having their own separate video game ecosystems geared toward budget smartphones, those worlds aren't gonna stay separate for much longer. The US, up to this point, has functioned almost entirely within a bubble, an island when it comes to gaming, unaware of the wider trends happening in the world of gaming around us. But that bubble is going to burst, and soon. This is admittedly a bit of a prediction on my part, but I'm not the only one making it. Microsoft's Xbox division is making the same prediction, and they're betting a lot of money on it by targeting India as their most important gaming market. Over the past decade or so, India has come online in a way that's quite frankly astounding. Back in 2007, when online games like Modern Warfare, Halo 3, and TF2 were all the rage, only 4% of people living in India had internet access. In 2020, that number ballooned to 50%. In the span of
Easy.
2 console generations, the Indian market for online games has gone from a single-digit percentage to half of a country with over 1 billion people. That's probably why earlier this year, Microsoft went
That's also why most of the gaming companies are banking so heavily on China, because China has an incredible population, and most mobile games, at least from what I can tell from the limited experience that I have within mobile gaming, basically just watching videos about mobile games where people critique it. But what I can tell when I look at the vast majority of mobile games is that a lot of it is just sort of rinse repeat. So mobile games don't tend to come up with a lot of new ideas. They tend to take ideas from AAA gaming companies, and then they make sort of like cheaper ways of doing it. So they'll make like cheap knockoff versions of those games. Because obviously it's much easier to just make a game that is already in existence, just make it cheaper and easier, than it is to come up with your own brand, so to speak, or your own idea around the game.
Went on record to say, quote, "The Indian gaming audience is one of the world's biggest gaming markets and remains a key growth area for the Xbox business. Considering that billions of dollars are at stake, I don't blame them." The upshot is, while the video game market in countries like India might seem separate, more American companies want to target them. And with Indian gamers favoring mobile games coming out of Asia like Garena Free Fire, Lords Mobile, and Battlegrounds Mobile.
Okay, but I have a question. So it's all good and well what he's saying here, but my question is this. If you are someone that earns currently, say, $10 an hour or a day, and you eventually get a leg up, because here's what many people are not talking about. India and China right now is pound for pound some of the, like, by GDP, like real GDP, in other words, how much every single person earns. It's not GDP. What's it called again? There's an economic term for it, but it's what the earnings per day per person within your country is. India and China is some of the lowest in the world. It's why most of the companies outsource all of their manufacturing to China and to India, because it's cheaper to make shit there. Right? You don't have to pay the workers as much because workers are far more accepting of paying or being paid far less to do the exact same work that in the US would cost 3 or 4 times as much. Now, that is changing. It's actually one of the big things that China is running into now. There's a channel called Economics Explained that sort of highlighted how China and India is going to be replaced very soon as the manufacturing capitals of the world. Because the issue is, most of those people that started working there, say, 20 years ago, working in those factories that accepted very low-tier income jobs, because what else would they fucking do, right? They've moved up. They've learned new skills. They've moved up in the company, and needs are evolving. Your needs, say for example, if you don't have a guaranteed roof over your head and food to eat, yeah, your needs are going to be a place to sleep and food to eat. That's it. You're not going to have sort of illusions of grandeur. You're not going to care about buying a car or buying a second home. You just want a home, even if it is just a roof, like a single room with a bed. That would be preferable to you, yeah? But now, as those sort of basic needs are attended to, and you now have a guarantee of food, and you have a guarantee of a room that you can sleep in, your needs are going to grow. It's going to evolve. And what ends up happening is now you start going, but wait a second, I would also like to go on holiday. Yeah, at least once a year. Or maybe your needs grow. I don't just want to eat bread and water every day. I'd like to eat some vegetables and maybe a bit of meat at least once or twice a week. So your needs are evolving. Your needs are sort of dependent on on your possibilities or the possibilities around you. So those people are starting to demand higher wages. This is something that China have been dealing with for a while now, with a lot of their workers no longer being accepting of the lower wages. India is starting to run into those issues as well, with workers starting to demand more money for the work that they've been doing as their needs are growing. And eventually you are going to get to a point where those companies are going to have to pay their workers sort of what we would call standardized wages, right? So similar to what you get in the West, maybe slightly lower, but not as low. So at that point, all of those workers that up until recently could only afford a low-tier mobile device are maybe going to be able to afford a console and a TV or a PC. Do you think then that those workers are going to continue to play mobile games when they can now upgrade to something a little bit larger? It's not going to take as long as you think. it's not going to take as long as you think. So just in the last 30 years, there's a book by a psychologist named Steven Pinker that you can absolutely read. It's one of his newest books. The name evades me now. It's basically a collection of statistics. So the book doesn't really involve a lot of him talking. He just quotes statistics. Just in the last 30 years, capitalism have erased about 30% of the world's poverty. 30 years ago, we had almost, I think, 60% of the human population lived under the poverty line. Today, it's like 20 or 25% of the world's entire population lives under the poverty line. It is estimated that within the next 10 years, that number will be lowered to about 2%. China has been able to, just in the last 10 years, through free market capitalism, or what they actually have is more of a government-controlled corporatism, but through a mechanism within the free market, China has been able to lift almost 1 billion people out of abject poverty. Yeah, just by allowing people to open their own businesses and run it, as long as the state agrees that you can run it. They've lifted over 1 billion people out of poverty, and these things speed up over time. They don't slow down. So it's not as if it took 10 years for 1 billion, it's going to take another 10 years for another billion. If it took 10 years for the first billion people to be lifted out of poverty, it's going to take 5 years for the next billion, and then maybe 2 years for the next billion. And that's the whole of China lifted out of poverty. So as this speeds up, you're going to lift more people out of poverty. And what's going to end up happening is things like the mobile. It's not obvious to me that someone that can afford a PC or a console is going to opt for a mobile game.
Mobile, it won't be long before big players in US gaming start copying those trends and design aesthetics. And what's even cooler is that this cross-cultural exposure works both ways, as we start to see more and more overlap.
So Candy Crush, if I'm not mistaken, Candy Crush is very big under kids, right? I think the vast majority of Candy Crushes, so the overall gaming industry, if you look at the distribution of the gaming industry, it's 50-50 men and women, yeah? And then age groups, you have very low, like you have very young age groups partaking in video games. And then you have, obviously, all the way through to very old age groups participating in video games. But when you break the gaming industry into its separate components, PC and console is dominated by men. So vast majority of players, although in the last decade that have been equalizing a little bit more. So I believe a decade ago it was something like 90% men, 10% women for PC and console gaming. Nowadays, it's closer to like 60-40, 70-30, respectively, I believe. So they're actually thinking that within the next 5 years, it's probably going to reach an equilibrium of 50-50. 50% men, 50% women. The mobile gaming industry, on the other hand, is dominated primarily by women and younger people. So people under the age of 18 and women play a hell of a lot of mobile games, which kind of probably makes sense because the vast majority of mobile games aren't really designed to be like fully engaged with, if that makes sense. So mobile games, generally speaking, aren't designed to take 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 hours out of your day. It's sort of, you can play it within 10 minutes and then move on with your life. So maybe you're a mum or a full-time mum and your kid is at soccer practice for an hour, so you're quickly playing on your phone while your kid is at soccer practice. Maybe you're a dad in between meetings or a woman in between meetings. You're both sitting there quickly playing a game before you go into your next meeting. So maybe people who have like high stress jobs or busy jobs might play a lot of mobile games. But I don't know if you would say that's gamers specifically. I don't view that as gamers. Because if you're just playing a game to keep yourself busy in between meetings, I don't see you as a fucking gamer, right? You're just keeping yourself busy. You could have read something, you could have watched a YouTube video, you decided to play a game. I would ignore the meeting and not go to it so that I can play games. That's what I would consider a gamer. So yeah, I would, I would probably, that would probably be how I would push things, like in my own head, like my own biased take on gamer versus non-gamer. The gamer is the guy that would miss his meeting, like Henry Cavill almost missing his big break of being Superman because he was busy raiding in World of Warcraft. That's a gamer. Not the guy who's sitting there waiting to hear that he's the next Superman and quickly playing a 10-minute game on his mobile phone.
Between the traditional gaming audience here in the States and these new emerging gaming markets, we're gonna have more chance to get exposed to new types of games. Consider this: if you are an old school gamer who grew up in the 80s and 90s, one thing you probably noticed is that most of the games came from either Western developers or Japanese developers. This was embodied by the division between the JRPG and the Western RPG. Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest just approach storytelling differently from Western RPGs like Fallout, Baldur's Gate, and the Elder Scrolls. Like, this is a Japanese Marlboro, this is a US Marlboro. Can you spot the difference? At the time, it seemed like games basically boiled down to two different cultural categories, Western and Eastern. But that oversimplified view got turned on its head as the gaming industry grew. The growth of the Korean gaming market in the early aughts brought us MMOs like MapleStory and Ragnarok Online. Games that were designed to be played hunched over a keyboard in a PC
I wouldn't say that that's changed too much. There's still a very clear difference between Western and Eastern MMOs or games in general. Like most Western and East, like most games that you see on the market today, if you saw the game and you knew anything about gaming, you would be able to tell at first glance, this is an Eastern game versus this is a Western game. And their mechanics are still very different. Like the way they're designed is still very different. So I wouldn't say that that margin have slowed down.
Unless
I
rather than with a
misunderstood what he's
controller
saying.
in hand like most Japanese games. This influx of Korean influence also pushed gaming into new territories, like Ragnarok Online's art style of 2D sprites and 3D environments, or MapleStory being one of the earliest examples of the free-to-play model that's now omnipresent. And continuing on into the 2010s, we saw the mainstreaming of Eastern European gaming companies, exemplified by The Witcher, a game series.
There we go. Let's just have the #1 RPG in the world. Suck a dick. The argument is over. Is Western games better? Is Eastern games better? Witcher 3. That's all you have to say. Witcher 3. It makes the point. Best RPG ever made. 100%.